Morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I note that the hour has come and that a quorum of this council is present. Asking for all members, please take your seats. All visitors, please retire outside the council chambers. Please take all sidebar conversations out of the council chambers. Before proceeding, I'm going to ask for everyone to please put your cell phones on vibrate and or silent. Thank you. To give our invocation this morning, the chair recognizes Bishop Derek J. Wright, Senior Pastor of Infinite Wonders Ministries Incorporated. He is here today as a guest of our Majority Leader, Councilman Catherine Gilmore Richardson. I will ask all members and guests to please rise.
Good morning. It is my distinct pleasure, privilege, and honor to be with you today. Mr. President and City Councilwoman Catherine Gilmore Richardson, thank you for the invitation. Let's bow our hearts and pray. Gracious and eternal God, we pause at the beginning of this gathering to acknowledge your presence and to honor you as the source of wisdom, justice, and peace. We thank you for the gift of this day and for the opportunity to come together with purpose and responsibility. We give thanks for the city of Philadelphia, its rich history, its diverse people, its enduring spirit. Thank you for every neighborhood, every family, and every individual who calls this great city home. We are grateful for the privilege of living, working, and serving in a place that continues to strive toward liberty, fairness, and opportunity for all. Today we lift before you the men and women entrusted with the leadership in this chamber. Grant them, Lord, the wisdom that rises above personal interest, discernment that is clear and steady, and the courage that is guided by humility. May every decision made here be marked by integrity, fairness, and a sincere commitment to the common good. We pray for justice that is compassionate and equitable, for policies that protect the vulnerable, and for leadership that listens carefully and acts thoughtfully. Where there are difficult choices, grant clarity. Where there is disagreement, grant respect. Where there is weariness, grant renewed strength. We ask your covering over the people of this city, our children, our elders, our workers, our caregivers, our communities that are facing challenges and uncertainty. May your peace prevail in our streets, unity grow across our differences, and hope be strengthened in our heart. Remind us that leadership is a sacred trust and service is its highest calling. May all who serve this city do so with wisdom, humility, and a deep sense of accountability. Father, we offer this invocation and this prayer with gratitude and hope, trusting you to guide this day and the work that is set before us. In your precious name, amen.
Amen. The chair thanks the bishop for the invocation. Council will now be at ease. You're welcome. Absolutely. How are you? All is well? Good? Okay. Busy is good. I understand that. I did the same thing. The next order of business is the approval of the journal of the meeting of Thursday, January 22nd of 2026. The chair recognizes Councilmember Cindy Bass.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the journal of the meeting of Thursday, January 22nd, 2026 be approved.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the journal of the meeting of Thursday, January 22nd of 2026 stand approved. All in favor will indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the journal is approved. The next order of business is request for leave of absence, and the chair recognizes Councilmember Isaiah Thomas.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning to the listening public. On behalf of the majority, a leave of absence is requested from Majority Leader Catherine Gilmore Richardson, as well as Councilmember Mark Squilla. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. The chair thanks the councilmember. Leave will be granted. The chair recognizes Councilmember Brooks.
Thank you so much, Council President. On the behalf of the minority, there are no requests for leaves of absence today.
Thank you very much. The chair thanks the councilmember. The chair now recognizes Councilmember Isaiah Thomas for a motion concerning certain legislative matters that may arise during the course of today's session of council and that were not listed on the calendar circulated prior to today's session.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. I move that any of the following matters, if considered today, may be added to the agenda for this session of council and, as required by law, subsequently published on an amended agenda after the consideration of those matters, resolutions authorizing hearings, amendments to bills on first readings, the reconsideration of a bill vetoed by or recalled from the mayor, amendments to the bills recalled from the mayor, resolutions taking substantive action to be voted on in this session, a motion to withdraw a bill or resolution that is not on the calendar, and a motion placing a bill and a resolution on or returning a bill or resolution from the suspension calendar that is not listed on today's calendar. The purpose of this motion is to provide the public with notice concerning possible actions by council that arose too late to be included in the calendar that was published prior to today's session.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the legislative matters stated by Councilmember Isaiah Thomas may be added to the agenda for today should those matters arise during the course of this session of council. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the motion carries. The chair will dispense with the regular order of business to recognize the guests and visitors joining us in chambers this morning. On behalf of all members of City Council, I welcome you to our council session. We appreciate your taking the time to join us as we attend the legislative affairs of our great city. We certainly invite you to come again. At this time, the chair recognizes Councilmember Dr. Anthony Phillips, who will present a resolution honoring LaSalle College High School on winning the 2025 PIAA Class 6A State Football Championship. With head coach Brett Gordon and those accompanying him, please join the council member at the podium. Joining Councilmember Dr. Anthony Phillips are the following members: Councilman Mike Driscoll, Councilmember Kendra Brooks, Councilman Nicholas O'Rourke, Councilman Ketsi Lozada.
All right. Thank you so much, Council President, and thank you to all of those who are here today on behalf of LaSalle College High School. If I can invite all the alums as well, if they're not here as well, Mr. David Ford, Chris Desi, if you all can join the podium as well, that are here today as well. Today we have here standing with us the head coach of the LaSalle Football Explorers, Mr. Brett Gordon. And then we have 5 incredible students who are here from the LaSalle football team who are seniors. We have Adam Christie, Lucas Johnson, Danny Lawyer, Jacob Jackson, Chris Hack, the president of the LaSalle College High School Alumni Association, Bob Long, the director of communications, who also I worked for while I was at LaSalle, Mr. Chris Carabello, and also we have Bob Zanillo, the athletic director. So we're so excited to be honoring, for the first time ever in the history of Philadelphia City Council, LaSalle College High School. Now, to the chagrin of Councilman O'Neill, who's not here today,
Conveniently.
I wonder why. I'm truly exercising councilmanic prerogative because, as you know, LaSalle College High School is a school in Montgomery County, but has been tearing up a lot of Philadelphia schools and contributing to the Philadelphia region, including the great alumni that we have up here, and Mr. David Ford and Mr. Chris Desi, and so many alums who have contributed and impacted to the service of Philadelphia. So LaSalle has not only have students there on a daily basis helping Philadelphia grow, but they're also finding ways to be excellent in every single avenue, including today, and the reason why we're celebrating them in athletics. What does the score 34-20 mean? That was the final score that my school, LaSalle, secured their second state football title in school history. My school, LaSalle College High School, not Councilman O'Neill's school, that I still have love for, was able to champion the state in football. I think LaSalle still holds the lead in head-to-head matchups, but no one is counting. Like in politics, this isn't about yesteryear, it's about what you've done for me lately. And lately, LaSalle has been crowned champions. So with that being said, I just want to briefly just say a couple of things. Boys will be boys, but LaSalle boys will be gentlemen. That is a line that we walked into every single day at LaSalle College High School. We also walked into a slogan that said, enter to learn, leave to serve. And every single day, all of us, we had to say the same prayer at the beginning of the school day and the end of the school day. And it started with St. John the Baptist de LaSalle, pray for us, live Jesus in our hearts forever. LaSalle played a huge role in shaping who I am. I carry that with me every single day in my work on Philadelphia City Council. Now, when I walk through the doors of LaSalle and come through City Council, I understand what public service truly means. But I learned that during my time at LaSalle. LaSalle didn't just give me a strong academic foundation, it gave me a deeper understanding of leadership, service, and faith. It challenged me not just to be smart, but to be good. It challenged me to use my voice and my gifts for something bigger than myself. From teachers like Mr. Dennis Blow, to vice principals and vice presidents like Mr. Michael O'Toole, to Mr. Joe Parisi, to countless other mentors and teachers at that school, they really helped me understand the importance of leading and service. Whether it was through service trips, class debates, or just the brotherhood of being in a community with other young men striving for greatness, this school taught me how to lead, how to serve, and how to show up with integrity. Those lessons followed me to Morehouse, my work with youth development, eventually a seat on city council, as well as representing the neighborhoods I came from and fighting every day for young people who deserve the same opportunities that I had. And let me tell you one last thing. LaSalle didn't just prepare me, it helped me. When I stepped into the arena of public service and decided to run for council, it was a LaSalle connection who helped first open that door. The first time I ever learned about government was through David Ford, who's here today, where I interned in his office under Councilwoman Blondo Reynolds Brown, and that was the first time I understood what city council was all about. And it was LaSalle alumni who picked up the phone who said, Anthony, I know you're running for city council, how can I support you? That's the power of the LaSalle network, and that's the power of how we understand the importance of helping LaSallians across the city of Philadelphia and beyond achieve success. I'm so grateful LaSalle College High School, because when I was trying to choose a high school, it was challenging. And I was bullied, and LaSalle was the school that was the best school for me, that found me so I can find the success that I have today, thanks to all the support that LaSalle has given me. So with that being said, I would like to thank all of the young people who are here today, who are seniors, who are going to go off to great colleges, that are doing great achievement, who are here today to be presented in front of Philadelphia City Council for the first time in history, me being the first alum of LaSalle College High School to be on Philadelphia City Council. I'm proud and I'm humbled and I'm excited to present to you the LaSalle College High School football team for its great accomplishments. Thank you so much. Oh, that was the most important part.
I thought we were doing a presentation.
All right. Honoring LaSalle College High School on winning the 2025 PIWA Class 6A State Football Championship. Whereas LaSalle College High School has a proud tradition of academic excellence, athletic achievement, and character development, and continues to exemplify leadership on and off the field. And whereas on December 6, 2025, the LaSalle College High School Explorers defeated the Pittsburgh Central Catholic Vikings by a score of 34-20 at Chapman Field to win the 2025 PIWA Class 6A State Championship, securing the second state title in the program's history. And whereas
LaSalle completed an extraordinary 13-1 season demonstrating discipline, teamwork, and resilience throughout District 12 play, the Philadelphia Catholic League, and the state playoffs. And whereas the championship game showcased a historic standout performance by senior athlete Joey O'Brien, who recorded 3 interceptions in the fourth quarter, returning 1 for a 95-yard touchdown to seal the victory, while also catching 10 passes for 98 yards and even throwing a touchdown pass during the game.
And whereas running back Isaiah Nelson delivered a powerful offensive performance, rushing for 127 yards and scoring a key fourth quarter touchdown following O'Brien's first interception, helping to put the game out of reach. And whereas sophomore receiver Owen Johnson scored 3 receiving touchdowns, including 2 from quarterback Gavin Sidwar and 1 thrown by O'Brien, providing essential offensive momentum and contributing to LaSalle's halftime lead of 14-7. And
whereas LaSalle dominated the tempo of the championship, opening the second half with a remarkable 17-play, 80-yard drive that consumed 12 minutes of game time and extended the team's lead to 2 possessions. And whereas the Explorers' defense forced 3 critical fourth quarter turnovers, all by O'Brien, shutting down Central Catholic's comeback hopes and demonstrating extraordinary athleticism, preparation, and execution. And
Whereas the entire roster, including standout seniors Grayson McHugh, Gavin Sidwar, J.P. Oates, and others contributed to the championship season that reflects the strength of LaSalle's football program and developmental approach. And whereas the 2025 state title represents a milestone for LaSalle College High School, its students, coaches, alumni, community, and supportive families, bringing pride to the Montgomery County and the greater Philadelphia region. Now therefore be it
Therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Philadelphia hereby honors and congratulates LaSalle College High School on winning the 2025 PIAA Class 6A State Football Championship and celebrates student athletes, coaches, staff, and family supporters who contributed to this historic victory. Further resolved that an engrossed copy of this resolution be presented to LaSalle College High School as evidence of the sincere respect and admiration of this legislative body. Congratulations, LaSalle College High School. And I want to acknowledge that my colleague from St. Joe's Prep alum over here, Councilman Brown O'Neill, has decided to join us today. And we're so happy to have you, sir. And, just so you know, I used to play football a little bit, just for a year until I realized I wasn't that good. So this is my faded jersey. All right.
The chair recognizes Coach Brett Gordon for remarks.
Thank you, everybody. Good morning. My name's Brett Gordon. I'm the head coach at LaSalle. On behalf of our entire alumni base, LaSalle High School, and the 2025 state champion LaSalle High School Explorers, we're very humbled and honored to be honored by the city here today. The word brotherhood is what stands out to me for LaSalle. I was just fortunate to see one of my brothers, Joe Mead, here, who was a former classmate and teammate of mine from way back when I was a student. So very exciting year, very proud of our seniors. We appreciate you squeezing us in today. I know there's a pretty stocked docket for you all in here today, so appreciate you taking some time to honor LaSalle. We're super proud of this group, and thank you very much for having us all here today. Thank you.
Council will be at ease.
I got it home. I said that. All right, good morning. Guys, we're going front.
The next order of business is communications. The chair requests that the Sergeant at Arms deliver the messages from the mayor to the chief clerk. Will the chief clerk please read the messages from the mayor and any other communications in her possession?
To the President and members of the Council of City Philadelphia, I am pleased to advise you that on January 22nd, 2026, I signed the following bill, which was passed by council at its session on January 22nd, 2026, Bill number 251065. And that on January 27th, I signed the following bill, which was passed by council at its session on January 22nd, 2026, Bill number 251027. Council President, there are no further communications in my possession.
Thank you very much. The messages will be printed in the journal. The next order of business is the introduction of bills and resolutions. The chair recognizes the council member, Dr. Anthony Phillips.
Thank you, Council President, and thank you all colleagues for joining me today at LaSalle. With LaSalle, I have no bills or resolutions for today.
Thank you very much. The chair recognizes Councilmember Jamie Gautier. Chair recognizes Councilman Isaiah Thomas.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, colleagues. On behalf of Councilmember Gautier, I have one bill.
Bill. Thank you very much. Would the chief clerk please read the title of the bill? Thank you, Member Thomas.
An ordinance amending Title 14 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Zoning and Planning by revising and clarifying certain provisions and making technical changes to text that has expired, all under certain terms and conditions.
This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee. Chair recognizes Councilmember Isaiah Thomas.
Good morning again, Council President. Good morning again to the listening public. On behalf of Majority Leader Gilmore Richardson, I have one resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Will the chief clerk please read the title of the resolution?
A privileged resolution authorizing the Committee on Education to hold hearings on the decrease in black student enrollment at the School District of Philadelphia special admission schools.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar. Chair recognizes Councilmember Curtis Jones.
Good morning, Mr. President, colleagues, and viewing audience. Today, I offer one privileged resolution on your behalf.
Thank you very much. Will the chief clerk please read the title of the privileged resolution?
A privileged resolution recognizing the life and legacy of Joseph R. Cernick for his distinguished career of public service to the city of Philadelphia and his visionary leadership in transforming the Schuylkill River Corridor, Trail, and Waterfront.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar. The chair recognizes Councilman Rue Landau.
Good morning, Council President. Good morning, Council President. Good morning, colleagues, and good morning to the people of Philadelphia. Today, I have 3 bills and 1 non-privileged resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Will the chief clerk please read the title of the Ice Out of Philly resolutions and bills?
Amending Title 21 of the Philadelphia Code by adding a new chapter, 21-3600, entitled Non-Intervention with Respect to Immigration Enforcement, to place certain restrictions on the collection and use of information related to citizenship and immigration status, prohibit certain forms of discrimination in city services, and provide for remedies for violations, all under certain terms and conditions.
This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee.
And an ordinance amending Title 21 of the Philadelphia Code by adding a new chapter, 21-3600, entitled Non-Intervention with Respect to Immigration Enforcement, to establish certain limits on how personal information may be handled by the city with regard to immigration enforcement, create reporting requirements, and provide for remedies for violations, all under certain terms and conditions.
This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee.
And an ordinance amending Chapter 9-1100 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Fair Practices Ordinance, Protections Against Unlawful Discrimination, to add protections against discrimination on the basis of citizenship and immigration status, all under certain terms and conditions.
This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee.
and a non-privileged resolution urging U.S. Senators John Fetterman and Dave McCormick, as well as all United States senators committed to upholding the Constitution of the United States and the rule of law, to vote no on H.R. 7147 and to reject increased funding for Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
This resolution will be placed on the final passage calendar for consideration at the next session of council. The chair recognizes Councilwoman Ketty Lozada.
Thank you, Council President. Good morning, everyone. I have nothing today.
Chair recognizes Councilman Jeffrey J. Young.
Good morning, Mr. President. Today I have one resolution.
Thank you very much. Will the chief clerk please read the title of the resolution?
A privileged resolution recognizing January 20th through 23rd, 2026 as Social Justice Week in the city of Philadelphia, and further honoring Friends Select School for its contributions and dedication to being an anti-racist school with a culture and a curriculum that encourage and empower awareness of and response to issues and events in the city of Philadelphia.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar. The chair recognizes Minority Leader Councilmember Kendra Brooks with the introduction of the ICE Out of Philly resolution and bills.
Thank you, Council President. I have one privileged resolution and 4 bills to introduce today.
Thank you very much. Will the chief clerk please read the title of the bills and resolutions, please?
An ordinance amending Title 17 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Procurement Contracts and Title 21 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Miscellaneous to prohibit the acceptance of bids on city contracts from or the execution of contracts with entities that do business with immigration enforcement authorities, bar city participation in, resource expenditures to, and involvement in any agreements or activities in furtherance of immigration enforcement, including through the conduct of its employees, contractors, and funding recipients, require annual reporting of city immigration-related activities, and provide for civil enforcement of violations, all under certain terms and conditions.
This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee.
And an ordinance amending Title 10 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Regulation of Individual Conduct and Activity to prohibit law enforcement officers from concealing their identity, require officers to visibly display their badge and other official identifying information, prohibit the impersonation of law enforcement officers, and provide for civil and criminal enforcement of violations, all under certain terms and conditions.
This bill will be referred. This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee.
And an ordinance amending Title 10 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Regulation of Individual Conduct Activity and amending Title 11 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Streets to prohibit immigration enforcement on city and city-related property and facilities, to prohibit immigration enforcement in the right-of-way, and provide for civil enforcement of violations, all under certain terms and conditions.
This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee.
And an ordinance amending Title 10 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Regulation of Individual Conduct and Activity to restrict the use of community spaces for government purposes not expressly authorized by the city or the courts, and provide for civil enforcement of violations, all under certain terms and conditions.
This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee.
And a privileged resolution recognizing the lives and legacies and expressing condolences for the deaths of Keith Porter Jr., Renee Nicole Good, Alex Preddy, Chong Gi, Faud Saeed Al-Qadir, Parity La, and the countless individuals who have been killed, disappeared, or tortured in this past year.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar. The chair recognizes Councilman Jim Harity.
Good afternoon, Council President. I have one privileged resolution today.
Thank you very much. Will the chief clerk please read the title of the privileged resolution?
Recognizing January as National Substance Use Disorder Month and honoring the resilience of individuals, families, and communities impacted by substance abuse disorder in Philadelphia and nationwide.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar. The chair recognizes Councilman Nicholas O'Rourke.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have one privileged resolution today.
Will the chief clerk please read the title of the privileged resolution?
A privileged resolution honoring Word Radio for being nationally recognized as a nominee for the NAACP Image Award for its limited podcast series, Exonerated, The Cost of Wrongful Conviction, which explores life after wrongful conviction in Philadelphia, exemplifying local journalism's mission to explain, clarify, and nuance the diverse experience of Philadelphians.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar. Chair recognizes Councilman Mike Driscoll.
Morning, Mr. President. No bills or resolutions this morning.
Thank you very much. Chair recognizes Councilmember Brian O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr. President. I offer one non-privileged resolution.
Will the chief clerk please read the title of the privileged resolution?
A non-privileged resolution authorizing Councilmember Brian O'Neill's appeal on behalf of and as representative of City Council of the decision of the Departments of Licenses and Inspections with respect to 451 Ron Street.
This resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar. The chair recognizes Councilmember Brian O'Neill for a motion concerning the resolution just introduced.
Yes, Mr. President, thank you. I move that the rules of council be suspended to permit the consideration of this non-privileged resolution. It was just read into the record by the chief clerk at today's session of council.
It has been moved and properly seconded that all those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. It has been moved and properly seconded that all those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries. The resolution will be placed on today's final passage calendar. So that will be voted on today. The chair recognizes Councilmember Cindy Bass.
Thank you, Mr. President. I offer one bill today.
Thank you very much. Will the chief clerk please read the title of the bill?
An ordinance renaming and designating the property commonly referred to as Panati Playground located at 3100 North 22nd Street to the Allegheny West Recreation Center in recognition of the community and neighborhood that it serves.
Yeah, good job. This bill will be referred to the appropriate committee. The next order of business being that there are no reports from committees, the chair recognizes Councilmember Dr. Nina Ahmad.
All right, don't forget me.
Sorry, Dr. Ahmad. Do you have any bills and resolutions for today?
No bills or resolutions this morning. Thank
All right,
you.
thank you very much, Councilmember Dr. Nina Ahmad. I'm sorry. Must have been all that snow. Being there are no reports from the committees today, the next order of business is the consideration of the calendar. The chair recognizes that Majority Whip, Councilmember Isaiah Thomas, for a motion concerning the bills and resolutions on the second reading and final passage calendar.
Thank you, Mr. President. The following bills and resolutions are being called up for second reading and final passage calendar today. Bills number 260033, 260034, 260036, 260037, 260039, 260040, 260041, 260042, 260045, 260046. Resolution 241070 and 260044. Bills 241056, 250768, 250807, 250843, and 251052 are being held. The following resolutions and bills are being held. Do I need to read them again for the clerk?
No,
Thank
we're
you,
good
Councilman.
for the record. Thank you very much, Member
Thank you,
Thomas. Thank you very much. Before considering these bills and resolutions, we will consider public comment as follows. Your public comment must concern matters on the second reading and final passage calendars for possible action at today's council session. All speakers must sign up in order to testify. If you have not already signed up for today's session, please do so now by giving your name to Ms. Hassan at the table outside the rails to my left. Once you have signed up, you will be called in the order in which your name appears on a sign-up sheet. Under ideal circumstances, public commenters each will have 3 minutes to speak. However, this time limit may vary from session to session. Today's time limit will be 2 minutes. In order to be fair to all those wishing to speak, I intend to hold faithfully to the 2-minute limit. When you begin speaking, you will see a green light on the podium. When there are 30 seconds remaining to your time, the light will turn yellow, which is your reminder to conclude your remarks. Once 2 minutes have passed, the light will turn red, and the sergeant at arms will disconnect the microphone. Please don't get mad at him, he's just doing his job. At that point, please yield the podium to the next speaker if you have not already done so. I also reserve the right pursuant to our rules of City Council to limit repetitious comments on the same subject matter. I would now ask the Chief Clerk to please read the name of our first speaker.
We have Lynn Landis. May David Jenkins, Cesar Ruiz de Castilla, Lilia O., Erica M., Curtis Walker, Michael McGettigan, Isaac Shane, and Kavari Shah also make their way to the podium. Lynn Landis, David Jenkins, Cesar Ruiz de Castilla, Lilia O., Eric M., Curtis Walker, Michael McGettigan, Isaac Shane, and Kavari Shah.
Go ahead, Lynn. Speak into the microphone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Lynn Landis of SafeStreetsPhilly.org and the parent of 2 naturalized citizens. We strongly support our federal immigration laws and believe that sanctuary cities and states are an attack on our nation's sovereignty and security.
Excuse me, everyone. All we ask for is respect for anyone, irregardless of their opinion and or their testimony. Please proceed.
Under the Biden administration, Democrats engineered an illegal invasion of our country.
I'm gonna ask y'all one more time. Please be respectful of the individual giving public comment, irregardless of your personal opinion regarding their position.
Under the Biden administration, Democrats engineered an illegal invasion of our country by inviting in millions of illegal immigrants from all over the world, plus supporting them with taxpayers' money. Why?
The longer y'all take and don't let her speak is the longer she'll be standing at the podium. Please proceed.
Why? Because Democratic leaders clearly want illegal aliens to vote for them in our elections. Ultimately, it appears that Democrats want America under a one-world globalist government, much like what happened with the COVID lockdown, which was encouraged by the World Health Organization. There are words for what Democratic leaders are up to. Insurrection is one. But to many Americans, it sounds an awful lot like treason. Thank you.
Will the clerk please call the next speaker? Respect, everyone.
Mr. President, members and guests, Steve Alexander Jenkins, and I rise in solemn remembrance and in moral responsibility to support this privileged resolution honoring the lives taken in acts of violence. This resolution is a declaration Philadelphia will not be silent when state violence erodes the sacred value of human life. I don't know what government was thinking when it sent the secret police into the streets in the form of ICE to occupy Washington, D.C., or to terrorize Minnesota, leaving a wake of death and chaos in its path. But I'm profoundly aware that it made a terrible miscalculation in entering the city of brotherly love. Please know that in this semi-quincentennial America that we stand, as I am reminded in the words of Councilman Kendra Brooks, in a Philadelphia that is still in a state of becoming. We have not become. Hear me. This revolutionary city holds the DNA of descendants of British traders to the crown who led a revolt against a tyrannical government and won. The streets of Philadelphia taught the world how to set fire to an idea that did not uphold that all men are created equal and that they enjoy the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I want to remind you that in Philadelphia, aptly named for love, that we should not misconstrue that with cuddles, with kisses, and with hugs. No. Here in Philadelphia, we mean love for our neighbor and for our country and for our Constitution that is willing to bring smoke to protect our brethren. Smoke in the form of law, smoke in the form of streets, smoke in the form of revolution.
Cesar Ruiz de Castilla, O. Lilia, Eric M., Curtis Walker, Michael McGettigan, Isaac Shane, and Kaveri Shah.
My name is Cesar Ruiz de Castilla. I speak in support of the resolution, and I'm a child of immigrants and a student here at Penn. I'm also a member of the YCL and the WAMS Bell Club. So there are a number of stories of the 5,500 immigrant children who have been affected by Trump's family separation policy, and according to the ACLU's best estimates today, around 1,300 of those are still unaccounted for. We are currently living in a moment where we see kids like 5-year-old Liam Ramos being detained by ICE and sent to detention facilities where you can hear children yelling and screaming, "Let us out." Minnesota lawyers have described this whole strategy as a conveyor belt, how ICE is detaining families en masse and then sending them out of state so that they can't get legal counsel. The architect of that family separation policy is Tom Homan, who is Trump's border czar and the person who he has appointed and directed to now be in charge of the operation in Minneapolis. This shows that this administration, full of racists, Nazis, and nationalists, is not interested in slowing anything down. While justified outrage rightly follows the deaths of Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy, they were not the first people ICE killed this year. Keith Porter was shot dead in Los Angeles, leaving behind 2 daughters. Last year, 32 people died in ICE custody, including Chao Feng-Ga ruled a suicide even though he was found with his hands and feet tied behind his back, and Fuad Abdul Qadir, both in Moshannon. Just 20 days ago, Parody Law died in federal detention center here in Philadelphia when he was suffering from severe withdrawal symptoms, for which agents gave him Narcan. For drug withdrawal, they gave him several doses of Narcan, and he is one of 6 people that have died in ICE facilities this year alone. This legislation is long overdue. Philadelphia is a city full of diverse Black and brown and immigrant communities, and it has been repeatedly targeted by ICE already. We cannot cede any ground or give any quarter to these masked fascists who operate without any legislative oversight to pursue a white supremacist project. Anything less than this legislation, anything less than resisting ICE at every arena and area of struggle, is a betrayal to every single working class individual of this city. We cannot let these neo-Confederates keep on doing this racist nationalist project they've seeked out to do. Thank you.
Mi nombre es Lilia. Soy miembro líder de la Alianza Nacional de Trabajadoras del Hogar en Filadelfia. Tengo 23 años en Filadelfia y 18 años trabajando en limpieza. Soy madre de 3 hijos y esposa que lucha todos los días para tener una vida digna.
My name is Lilia, and I am a member leader of the National Domestic Workers Alliance of Philadelphia. I have lived in Philadelphia for 23 years and have worked in cleaning for 18 years. I am a mother of 3 and a wife who fights every day to have a dignified life.
El día de hoy estoy aquí para hablar sobre la resolución de las concejalas Brooks y Lento y para apoyar más protecciones contra ICE. Lamento mucho las pérdidas de vidas en Minnesota por manos de ICE, de Renee Good, una madre como yo y de Paradis La, un vecino de Filadelfia.
Today I'm here to speak about the resolution by Councilwoman Brooks and Lando and to support the stronger protections against ICE. I deeply regret the loss of life in Minnesota at the hands of ICE, of Renee Good, a mother like me, and of Paradis La, Philadelphia neighbor.
Esta violencia puede venir a Filadelfia. Ya hay muchas redadas en diferentes lugares de la ciudad y arrestos a personas que han vivido en Filadelfia por muchos años. Hay mucho abuso de poder en esos encuentros y no podemos dejar que ICE use los recursos de la ciudad para que siga haciendo lo que quiera sin consecuencias. Ese temor nos afecta mentalmente, económicamente y para nuestros hijos en el aprendizaje.
This violence could come to Philadelphia. There are already many raids in different parts of the city and abductions of people who have lived in Philadelphia for many years. There is a great deal of abuse of power in these encounters, and we cannot allow ICE to use city resources to continue doing whatever it wants without consequences. This fear affects us mentally, economically, and impacts our children's education.
Nuestra ciudad debe decir que esto no está bien. Todos tenemos derecho de vivir con dignidad y respeto, sin miedo, porque somos humanos y parte de esta comunidad.
Our city must say that this is not right. We all have the right to live with dignity and respect without fear because we are human beings and part of this community.
Por eso les pido apoyen más protecciones contra ICE. Con ella nos vamos a sentir más seguros de ir a sitios manejados por la ciudad como bibliotecas y centros recreativos. También los agentes de ICE no podrán cubrirse la cara sin consecuencias. También no se podrá discriminar uno simplemente por ser inmigrante.
That is why I request you to support the stronger protections against ICE. With these protections, we will feel safer going to our city-run places like libraries and recreation centers. ICE agents will no longer be able to cover their faces without consequences, and it will no longer be possible to discriminate against someone simply for being an immigrant.
Estamos aquí porque nosotros sabemos que ustedes tienen el poder de hacer el cambio y proteger a la comunidad inmigrante para que Filadelfia continúe siendo una ciudad de amor fraternal. Gracias.
So we are here because we know that you have the power to make change and protect the immigrant community so that Philadelphia continues to be a city of brotherly love. Thank you.
Mi nombre es Erika. Soy líder laboral del Comité de Trabajadores de Restaurantes. Hoy estoy aquí con miedo, defendiendo a mi comunidad inmigrante, que también tiene miedo. Miedo de ir a trabajar, miedo de llevar a sus hijos a la escuela, miedo de hacer las compras, miedo de ir al médico. Esto no es vida.
My name is Erika. I am a worker leader with the Restaurant Workers Committee. Today I'm here in fear and standing up for my immigrant community who are also afraid to go to work, afraid to take their children to school, afraid to go shopping, afraid to go to the doctor's appointment. This is not life.
¿Se imaginan salir de casa sin saber si volverán a ver a su familia? ¿Si volverán a abrazar a sus hijos? ¿O si podrán llevarlos a su partido de fútbol? Ya no tenemos el privilegio de experimentar estas cosas tan sencillas y básicas.
Can you imagine leaving home without knowing if you are going to see your family again? Or hugging your children? Or if you will take them again to the soccer game? These simple and basic liberties we do not have the privilege of experiencing anymore.
Y este miedo se agrava aún más cuando vemos a agentes enmascarados en coches sin distintivos secuestrando a nuestra gente. ¿Qué opinan de eso? ¿No se identifican? ¿No tienen una orden judicial, pero detienen a la gente de todos modos? ¿Esto es constitucional? ¿Pueden los concejales de Filadelfia permitirles actuar por encima de la ley en frente de sus narices?
This fear becomes even worse when we see masked agents in unmarked cars kidnapping our people. What do you make of that? They do not identify themselves, they do not have a warrant, but they detain people anyways. Is that constitutional? Can council members of Philadelphia let them operate completely outside the law, right under their noses?
Quiero decirles que apoyo plenamente la resolución de la concejala Brooks y Landau. Este paquete de proyectos de ley es una forma de decir no están solos en esta ciudad y vamos a hacer todo lo que esté en nuestro poder para que no vivan con miedo. Gracias por apoyar la legislación y así se unen a sus vecinos, a los trabajadores que hacen funcionar esta ciudad y a los principios que se defienden con valentía en una sociedad democrática.
I want to tell you that I fully support Councilwoman Brooks and Landorf's resolution. This package of bill is a way of saying you are not alone. This city sees you, and we are going to do everything in our power so that you do not live in fear. Thank you for supporting the Inside Out legislation and for standing in unity with your neighbors, the workers that make this city run, and the principles you defend with bravery in a democratic society.
We have Curtis Walker, Michael McGettigan, Isaac Shane, Kaveri Shah, Johnny Rashid, Van Sam, Jeremy Blatstein, Vivian Chang, and Stephen Morley also make their way to the podium. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Curtis Walker. I'm a proud steering committee member of ICE Watch at Juntos, a local immigrants' rights organization. My third shift of watch, a scared teen was tackled outside of our courthouse. His neck was sat on by ICE for a couple of minutes. A week later, I watched I watched in person as another man was tackled inside the courthouse, which was supposed to be illegal even then. Both times, people were violently grabbed. The sheriff's department helped. Sheriffs waved tasers at peaceful witnesses. My colleagues have seen ICE stalk community members into courtrooms. ICE collects private data to do so. Activists locally, including me, have been hit. Some have been knocked down to the ground by ICE wearing plainclothes, no badges, and many covering their faces. Recent months here in Pennsylvania, Poedela Saeed Abdul Qadar died while in ICE custody. Chao Fen Gay allegedly committed suicide but was hogtied. How do you commit suicide when you're hogtied? Our immigrant friends are being treated as non-human and thrown away under your watch. As the Juntos ED, Attica Guadalupe said, our national government is putting people in danger. It is the responsibility of local government to protect them. ICE needs to be stopped. This resolution will protect them from having access to places that should be safe havens for our people, stop them from collecting private data against the law, make their identities more visible, and stop the collusion between local police and ICE. Once you pass this resolution, please make sure it's enforced. If you don't act, more people will be torn away from their families, tortured, and many more will die. Thank you for hearing me, and thank you for your support.
Hello, everyone. My name is Isaac Shane, and I am a junior at Friend Select School. As a Friend Select student, it means a lot to stand here as City Council as we recognize Social Justice Week and the work we do together in our community just up the Parkway. Since 2019, Social Justice Week has been our chance to pause and really look at the issues shaping our city. Issues like gun violence, the opioid crisis, and the rights of Indigenous people, and more. We don't just learn about them from textbooks. We learn by engaging with the people and organizations working on the ground in Philadelphia. Students are given the unique opportunity to make and teach lessons plans on these topics to their classmates throughout the week. That is just one of the things that makes our school special. Being in the city and of the city isn't just a slogan. It's how we learn every day. We are fortunate to have teachers and leaders at Friend Select who trust us to take on big topics and who support us as we try to understand how equity and justice show up in the real world. Their work and the work of programs like the city curriculum help us see ourselves as part of something larger. So thank you to Councilmember Jeffrey Young and the Philadelphia City Council for recognizing this week, and thank you to my classmates for showing up with curiosity, passion, and care. Social Justice Week is powerful because of all of us, and I am grateful to be part of a school that educates us for, as our motto says, the whole of life. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kaveri Shah. I'm a junior at Friends Select. On behalf of the upper school students of Friends Select School, I want to thank Philadelphia City Council and Council Member Jeffrey Young for recognizing January 20th through the 23rd of this year as Social Justice Week, and for honoring our school's commitment to equity and anti-racism. It means a lot to know that the work we do as students matters to the city we call our classroom. Every year since 2019, Social Justice Week has pushed us to examine the issues affecting Philadelphia. I am thankful to have been this year's student leader in coordinating the student body's selection of and reflection on these issues. This year, those topics include immigration reform, misogyny in media, social justice in film, discrimination in sports, women's empowerment, sustainable energy, and more. These are not just areas of study for us. They are realities we see and feel in our lives. Our teachers and staff empower us to create opportunities and learn directly from community voices, activists, and organizations working to make positive change. The ways of moving in and thinking about the world with tolerance, integrity, and equity are woven into the virtues that led to the foundation of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection. Being one of the oldest and most historic learning institutions in Philadelphia gives us a unique responsibility. We are surrounded by universities, cultural institutions, and community groups, and we are privileged to engage with all of them. That access helps us grow as thinkers, and more importantly, as citizens who care about justice. Social Justice Week reminds us that we are not just students. We are part of Philadelphia's future, and we are grateful that City Council sees and supports the work we are doing. Thank you for this recognition, and thank you to everyone in the FSS community who makes this week meaningful every year. The city's recognition of the importance of this work is just another example of what makes me proud to be a Philadelphian.
I'm Johnny Rashid, pastor for West Philadelphia Mennonite Fellowship, a congregation member of New Sanctuary Movement. I'm here to give testimony in support of Council Members Brooks and Landau's condolences resolution, and even though I'm a pastor, I won't make a long sermon right now. I'm a child of Egyptian immigrants. My family migrated here in hopes of freedom from religious persecution and opportunity. My lived experience as an immigrant makes all immigrants family, and I moved to use my voice and body to advocate with them. Aside from my lived experience, the biblical value of loving one's neighbor animates my politics and my life. And among all of our religious traditions, we are exhorted to love our neighbor. And I have no doubt in my mind that everyone in this chamber seeks to uphold those values. All of you do that. In fact, we know they are central to our city of brotherly love. Philadelphia's schools, houses of worship, and communities should be safe for migrants. And though I am sure you hold to this ethic, our values and our words are not enough. Jesus says if we believe the right thing but don't do the right thing, we are like whitewashed tombs, clean on the outside and full of bones on the inside. And so I'm compelled to support the ICE Out package of bills that was introduced today. It is the most practical way we can love our neighbor who fear for their lives and are illegally under attack. Philadelphia should not and cannot be complicit in ISIS terror. This package of bill fulfills Philadelphia's mission to love its neighbors, welcome the stranger. It holds law enforcement officers accountable, and it ensures the protection of our community from the growing fascism and authoritarianism in our country. It guards against Trump's bullying and power grabbing. It protects migrants and from fear and assault, and it makes Philadelphia the city it purports to be. Dear members of council, these bills put our neighborly love that I know you hold into action. I implore you to support it and keep our city safe.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Van. I am a member of LEAD and a member organizer at 18 Million Rising. I'm here to share on behalf of an impacted community member who's afraid to stand here today to share his support for the ICE Out of Philly legislation. My name is P.S. a Cambodian refugee, a business owner, and a man who was given a second chance. Though I haven't always felt that this country truly honored that second chance. I grew up in South Philly, in a community that survived war, poverty, and violence. I made mistakes when I was young, and I paid for them. Today, I dedicate my life for making sure our kids don't repeat those mistakes. I mentor youth, help build small businesses, and work every day to keep our Southeast Asian market community safe, united, and thriving. As the former president of the Southeast Asian market, I helped bring in new resources and economic growth that supported local vendors, small business owners, and the city as a whole. But it's hard to talk about second chances when our families still live in fear. Fear of ICE, fear of walking into a city building, fear that one knock on the door could tear a parent away from their children, including mine. That's why the ICE Out of Philly legislation matters. This isn't about breaking law, it's about protecting family, honoring rehabilitation, and recognizing the value that immigrants and refugees bring to Philadelphia. I stand here as someone who got a second chance, who turned his life around, and who now give back to the city that raised me. I'm asking you to pass the ICE Out of Philly legislation so that those second chances, mine and so many others, are real, not just words on paper. Thank you.
We have Jeremy Blatstein, Vivian Chang, Stephen Morley, May Jasmine Rivera, Janine Chico Barker, Lauren Lowe, and Joanna Servino also make their way to the podium. Thank you.
Hello, City Council. First off, if you have a translation device, it alternates between 17 and 18. So if you can't hear it, you have to hit the button up to go to 18. And then when the other person goes back, it goes to 17 if you're having issues with the listening device. But my name is Jeremy Blatstein. I am here today in support of the resolution by Councilman Brooks and by Councilwoman Landau. It is very important that Philadelphia is a city for everybody, right? Philadelphia is a city that everybody should be able to come to and feel safe. And thank you for putting forth legislation today that fights for the people that can't have a voice. That goes right along with growing Philly to 2 million, right? We need to grow the city of Philadelphia. We need to create more jobs. We need to build more housing. And these types of protections help do that, so thank you. And I will want to acknowledge, and he's not here right now, but Councilman Young is playing 4D chess. He put in an overlay to try to stop housing, but that's not what he was really trying to do, I think. He wanted more housing to be built around Hahnemann. So he's gotten 829 units permitted in the last month. That's crazy, 829. Good job, Councilman Young. Give him a round of applause. 4D chess from the Yimby. And last but not least, we're talking about SEPTA. SEPTA is crucial to the city of Philadelphia. Obviously, the snow removal process has been a little bit drawn out, but overall, I think that the city's done a good job. Give her some grace and ride the ride, grow Philly to 2 million. Thank you.
Good morning, good morning. My name is Vivian Chang. I'm with Asian Americans United.
Quiet, please.
Thank you. Okay. With Asian Americans United and with all these beautiful people inside, outside, supporting the ICE Out bill package. Let's give it up. And I know we get to be a little happier today than we were expecting because so many council members have recognized just how important this legislation is. So we say thank you, and we say we're excited to have you committed through the whole thing. Right? We're just here at the beginning, but this is going to take a lot of work to get it through the votes, through committee and everything, right? And this is not something we can afford to break apart. These are non-negotiable pieces to protect our city. And this is only the first start. I know it's a lot. I know we have 7 different bills and everything, but what we're facing is literal fascism, is ICE murdering people in the streets, in closed doors, right? There's literal people from our community who have been killed. And ICE is something that is younger than a lot of people in this room. Not everybody, if you're a high schooler or a student, but most of us, we were born before ICE existed. It does not have to continue this way. So, yeah, we don't need anything. So we're excited, we thank folks, and this is only the beginning, right? We restrict what ICE is doing, but we ultimately need them gone. We need to make sure this is, yeah, Philly does not accept this. So thank you.
Good morning. My name is Stephen Morley. I have been engaged with immigration law for over 40 years as a practitioner, and then from 2010 until 2022, I served as an immigration judge here in Philadelphia. I'm also the son of parents who fled and escaped from Nazi Germany. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak in support of this resolution. I have watched aghast as the current administration has sidelined the immigration courts across the country by firing judges who are committed to the rule of law. This has a chilling effect on those judges who remain to rule in a manner that the current administration deems proper, rather than evaluating law and evidence fairly. I have watched equally horrified as the Board of Immigration's Appeals and the Attorney General have rewritten immigration law through precedential decisions that deeply infringe on the rights of foreign nationals. For instance, interpreting law in a manner to warrant mandatory detention for any foreign national who entered the United States without inspection, regardless of whether that entry was 5 days ago, 5 weeks ago, 5 months ago, 5 years ago, or 50 years ago. Another tactic to eviscerate the immigration courts is to dismiss asylum cases because a third country, such as Ecuador or Ghana, have assured the Trump administration that they will give asylum application a full and fair hearing to remain in that country. This process not only violates our international commitments, but also violates our long history of a nation that provides refuge and safe haven to the persecuted. Because of the sidelining of the immigration court system as an institution where foreign nationals had a chance to be fully and fairly heard, it is imperative that other institutions step up and provide foreign nationals protection. These proposals in this resolution do exactly that. They provide institutional protection where the current administration has eroded what used to be a place for the rule of law and to fairly litigate claims of foreign nationals. Thank you.
Good morning. Hi, everyone. I'm Jasmine Rivera. I'm with the Pennsylvania Immigration Coalition. For folks in the room who know about PIC, you know that we love our reports and our data and our research, and I can go on and on and on about all the ways in which immigrants have a positive impact on the city and the state, about the deadly impacts of detention on our communities, and of course how legislation like ICE Out increases public safety, boosts local economy, and builds trust between immigrant communities and local government. But I actually want to ask the members of council and everyone in this room a couple questions. I want folks to raise your hand if you have a loved one who's an immigrant. Levante el mano si tienes un querido que es un inmigrante. Ooh, that's a lot of hands, y'all. That's a lot of hands. Now, my second question, and I'll keep it up. My second question is, keep your hand up if you're okay with never seeing them ever again. Yeah, I didn't think so. And that is the reality we're facing right now, and I just want to make it abundantly clear. This is so much more than policy. This is about our people. Specifically, this is about my people. These are my neighbors. These are my friends. This is my family. We are talking about my mother and my husband. You don't think I don't worry about them being taken away from me? The last time I'll ever see them again? So I want to applaud this council for the resolution honoring those who have died in our state at the hands of ICE and elsewhere. And I want to celebrate this council for introducing the ICE Out package. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dr. Janine Chico Barker. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist in my own practice here in Philadelphia. I'm here to give testimony in support of Council Members Brooks and Landau's condolences resolution, and I want to thank them for their work. I am here as a clinical psychologist and a trauma expert, but more importantly, as a proud Chicana, a Mexican-American, the daughter of a Mexican immigrant, and a native South Philadelphian born and raised. I have worked with the immigrant and migrant communities for many years. I could spend hours talking to you all about the psychological and traumatic impact that ICE raids are having on our most vulnerable communities right now, but I don't have that time. Every day, I hear about how the ICE terror that we are witnessing is causing psychological distress, fear, and trauma for people. Please trust me when I say that the traumatic effects of these raids on our children and our families and our communities will last for years and generations to come. We cannot let this continue to happen, not to our neighbors, not to our communities, our families, and not in Philly. But of course, this is not new terror, and it's worse than ever. And these times call for bold, brave, new measures to protect our community, and you have a chance to do some of that here. Philly urgently needs these protections. Everyone deserves to belong and to feel safe here. Our immigrant and migrant communities are the heart of our city, and we owe it to them to protect them in any way that we can. And it is really important to say that many of the people that are being targeted by this administration are indigenous to this land and to Turtle Island. Everything about this violence is evil. I hope that you will recognize that this is a moment where you can do what is right, to take a stand for justice and love, and to do what you can do to protect our city's most vulnerable, as well as protect them for generations to come. Please help our beloved city take a stand against fascism, hatred, and white supremacy. Si se puede. Thank you.
We have Lauren Lowe, Joanna Servino, may Ethan Wynn, Maria Serna say hi to Abi, Miguel Andrade, and Turner Haley. Please make your way to the podium.
My name is Lauren Lowe. I'm here with Asian Americans United. I'm going to be reading testimony for my coworker and friend Lisa, who couldn't be here with us today. These are her words. My coworker, my comrade, my friend will be reading the testimony for me, but this doesn't mean I can't speak with my own voice. We share this voice as an immigrant community through our intertwined struggles and movements. I'm proud to be an immigrant. We're resilient enough to reroute, reroute, and grow communities wherever we go. We leave our homes to seek new ones. We pick up language and practice it every day, reshaping our tongues, our thoughts, and our sense of self. We learn how to survive in spaces that are built by us, but not for us. I moved to the US alone, trying to leave behind censorship that silenced me, and now I'm fighting against a xenophobic system that threatens to make me vanish. It would be dishonest to say I don't feel despair. I feel unsafe and detached at gatherings, feeling closer to people in Minnesota than to what's happening right in front of me. I feel like I'm in survival mode all the time. I work with immigrant youth. I see young people carrying adult-sized worries. I see youth having to stay alert and understand what ICE has been doing from the moment they've set foot in this country. I see parents living with constant fear of detention and deportation. I see how policy shows up in people's bodies as anxiety, exhaustion, and grief. These harms are not accidents. They are the result of choices. Choices to invest in cages instead of care, choices to collaborate with ICE, with systems that tear families apart instead of protecting them. But we also know what care looks like, so the system can't fool us. Care looks like my friend testifying for and with me when I don't feel safe to be here in person. It looks like community members checking in when somebody doesn't show up to school or work. Care looks like neighbors sharing rides, meals, and court dates. Care should also look like housing stability, language access, and health care regardless of status. It should look like limiting local cooperation with ICE and policies that keep families together. I'm not here to argue how worthy we are to be here. I'm tired and it's cliche. I'm here to say to refuse immigrants is to refuse the foundation of this country. It is to refuse that movement, adaptation, and change are part of being human, and by denying our humanness, you deny your own. It is to refuse both the past and the future. We should be making the right choices together. Choose people over punishment. Choose care over cages. Choose a city where immigrant communities can live and grow without fear. Choose to protect families, to invest in justice, and to build a future that we can all share. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joanna Severino, and I am the daughter of Caribbean immigrants. I'm here to give my support to Council Members Brooks and Landau's ICE package, and I would like to urge everyone to do the same. Philadelphia is often called the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection, and this package of bills puts that into action and law. When I reflect on the last several months, all I can think of are stories of people too afraid to go to work or the grocery store for fear of being kidnapped. I think of families being torn apart. I think of people being sent to unfamiliar lands when the U.S. is all they know. And I think of ICE brutally attacking and murdering innocent people. I've spent many nights with tears in my eyes, feeling helpless. Council members Brooks and Landau, however, are showing us that we are not helpless. This is our opportunity to affirm the dignity and humanity of our immigrant neighbors, to tell them we see your hurt and we will stand with you. It's our opportunity to tell ICE, you cannot act outside the law or hide behind anonymity. This city will hold you accountable for your actions. I know we've all heard the saying, one Philly, United City, and this is our chance to say, we are one Philly, a city united against intimidation, terror, and dehumanization. Thank you for your time.
Good morning. My name is Ethan Nguyen, and I'm a student at Thomas Jefferson University's East Falls campus. Today, I am here to express my support for the privilege resolution put forward by Brooks and Landau. In 156 days, America will turn 250 years old. 250 years ago, our founders gathered 12 blocks from here in Independence Hall to write both the Declaration and the Constitution. The founders knew what it meant to fight for freedom and oppose tyranny. Now, 250 years later, we face the same fight for freedom against an ever-increasing tyrannical government. The city of Philadelphia, the Commonwealth, and the Union have laws, and it is time ICE adheres to those laws and the Constitution. ICE must be held accountable for its crimes. ICE must be brought to justice. ICE must be kept out of the city. How can we be called the city of brotherly love if we let our brothers and sisters be ripped apart and taken to detention camps? I implore you to do all you can to support and pass the condolence resolution and all future resolutions. The violence and terror, such as in our communities in Minnesota, must end. The violence and terror against our immigrant communities must end. And in Philadelphia, the birthplace of American democracy, America will be looking for us for hope and inspiration. In history, just as it did 250 years ago, will be watching us. Thank you.
Buenos días, mi nombre es María Serna y estamos aquí hoy porque, como siempre lo he dicho, creemos en la verdad más grande y universal que es la familia, que es la base de nuestra comunidad, y que cada niño merece sentirse seguro en el único hogar que ha conocido y poderse ir a dormir sin el temor de que su mundo se desmorone por la mañana.
Good morning, my name is Maria Serna, and I'm here because we believe in the largest, most important truth, which is family is the basis of our community, and that every child has the right to get up in the morning without worrying that his world will disappear.
Sin embargo, nuestras leyes actuales le están fallando a esta base de la sociedad. Somos testigos de una realidad terriblemente cruel y devastadora, donde familias enteras se ven obligadas a irse después de décadas de contribuir a este país.
But the laws here are failing us now. We're witnesses to a truth that is devastating, that families that have been here for decades have to leave and can no longer contribute to this country.
Como madre y miembro de esta comunidad, veo este dolor todos los días en mis amigas y compañeras de lucha. Los veo en los rostros de madres como Lisette, Cristina, Annalyn, Arelis, muchas mujeres valientes que al igual que yo solo buscan proteger a sus hijos.
I see this every day in the struggle of mothers like Annalyn, Cristina, Lisette, mothers like me who are looking to protect their children. And I see this every day alongside others in the community that are fighting for their families.
Por esto es muy importante esta legislación y a los concejales que no han firmado les pido de todo corazón, por favor, hagan esto, es lo justo. Esto es una cuestión de humanidad, esto no es de política, esto no es esto es de nosotros ser humanos. No podemos permitir perder esa humanidad.
So I ask all council members who haven't signed on to this legislation to please sign on. This is a question of humanity. This is a question of basic rights for everyone as humans.
Por favor, aprueben este paquete. Una última cosa que les traje para mostrarles a ustedes. Estos son los dibujos de niños ciudadanos que han sido obligados a autodeportarse de aquí de Filadelfia. Estos niños que están aquí, los hijos de Arelis y sus 4 hijos, ellos están ahorita ciudadanos norteamericanos exilados en otro país. ¿Cómo podemos permitir que nosotros mismos estemos deportando a nuestros niños ciudadanos?
Please support this legislation. These drawings that I bring are from children who are citizens of this country who have been forced to auto-deport to be able to stay with their parents. How is it possible that we are requiring citizens who were born in this country to have to leave because of the actions of the government?
Thank you.
We have say hi to Abi, Michael Andrade, Turner Haley, May Ethan Ton, Peter On, Orena Rogers, Stephanie Dorenbosch, and Whitney Rooch also make their way to the podium. Thank you.
Hi, I was not trying to cry, but as I think about this, I'm getting a little emotional. So thanks, y'all. Serious faces, no laughs. Thank you for the opportunity to give public comment on the ICE Out legislative package introduced by council members Kendra Brooks and Rue Landau. My name is Saitu Abi. Sorry. I'm a Black immigrant, John. I'm an Ethiopian American and a native Philadelphian. My mom is a Black American and my dad is Ethiopian. I'm representing tens of thousands of Caribbean and African immigrants across the state. Sorry, I'm just thinking about my own personal experience. It's making me get very. I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm not trying to just cry, just to cry. This is embarrassing. Okay, I'm here representing tens of thousands of Caribbean and African immigrants across the state. Black immigrants. We're asking you all, as Black immigrants, we're asking City Council and all of Philadelphia to please be vocal and make a stance to protect us and all of the immigrants. We're Black first, and then we're immigrant. Just remember that. But at the end of the day, we're all human. I know this is politics, but we're human. I'm asking you to prioritize the rights of many over the comfort of few. I grew up in Philadelphia. I was born and raised in Philly, but then also grew up in Hawaii. That's where my parents met. And my dad was a revolutionary. The Osage bombings radicalized him. He was in Philadelphia in 1985. Thank you. Those experiences shaped my understanding of belonging, displacement, and power. Because of decisions made by this country, my father was deported, and my family endured a 20-year separation. I talked to him on WhatsApp. He's in Ethiopia now. Oh, sorry. It took me a decade to unlearn the myth of the model minority and fully claim my identity as a second-generation Ethiopian American immigrant. Today, I'm a community organizer of 20 years. I'm a sister, a creative, a homeowner, a business owner, and a proud member of the Pennsylvania Immigrant Coalition. I organize for communities that are too often invisible until they are targeted. I'm alarmed by what we are witnessing across the country, from Minnesota to right here at home, a violent and strategic expansion of ICE operations under Trump-era policies. I am deeply concerned that Philly, a city that calls itself welcoming, is being positioned as a playground for ICE and for racist, anti-immigrant agendas. I'll cut it short. Please remember, 15.7% of Philly residents are foreign-born. Our African community represents people from Liberia, Ethiopia, Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Senegal, to name a few. Our Caribbeans are representing Jamaica, Haiti, Trinidad, Tobago, Bahamas, Barbados. We are a Black Muslim city. Our Black immigrants are small business owners. We're artists, we're musicians, we're creatives, we're imams, we're religious leaders, we're service workers, we're caregivers, we're lawyers, we're doctors, we're professors. We're specifically at Lincoln University, my HBCU. We are building Africa Town, the upcoming commercial district in Southwest where I live, 52nd. We braid your hair, we cook your food, we teach your children, and we power this city's culture. I am a Black immigrant. My sisters are Black immigrants. This affects the people I love. Philadelphia is where the country began, on stolen land built on exploited people. You are in a position to do better than the founders ever did. Serve us, protect us, and pass the ICE out legislation. A Black immigrant, John. My name is Sahaitu. Thank you. Sorry for crying.
That was heavy. She said we can do better. She
Let's
said
hear
much
one
better than
more
the
time for
founders.
Say Hi To. Good morning, council members. My name is Turner Holly, and I am a graduate of the University of Pennsylvania, speaking in support of Council Members Brooks' ICE Out legislation on behalf of myself and my good friend Melissa Nong, whose statement I will read first. As a first-generation Vietnamese American college student, knowing how important college education is for me and my family, it is deeply troubling to hear current students question whether they can safely attend school in Philadelphia at all. And I'm sure Penn is not alone. When fear begins to shape who can learn, contribute, and stay, this city loses talent and trust. I also lead Philly tours celebrating our rich immigrant history and communities. As more tourists come to Philly this year, I want to be able to showcase Philly and say with pride that this city took every measure possible to protect the vibrancy they see before them. Immigrants make up 16% of this city. We share our food, our stories, our warmth with visitors, but immigrant communities are being destabilized by ICE activity. When harmed, it diminishes our local economy and our unique culture that draws people here. This legislation is about drawing a line to protect the people who make Philadelphia what it is and putting the entire immigrant community at ease. In America, we prefer our public spaces free of intimidation. We enshrine freedom. Laws like this matter because they signal what our city participates in, what it normalizes, and what it refuses to enable. The proposed resolution would establish a double wall protection against the threat of ICE by both deterring a large-scale operation and significantly limiting its potential damages by restricting ICE's most aggressive and destructive actions. You have the chance today, right now, to protect us against this chaos. You have the power to prevent scenes of masked men dragging Philadelphians into unmarked cars, of heavily armed forces assaulting people in your streets. We entrust you with this power. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Ethan Tan. I'm an immigrant, originally from Malaysia, and I'm an American citizen. I'm here to ask City Council to support the ICE Out package. I did not have a choice about where I was born, but I did have a choice about becoming an American. I did have a choice when I had not one, but 2 children born in Philadelphia. I did have a choice to make Philadelphia home, and my choices have begun to scare me. As an immigrant, I'm scared. I fear for myself, my family, my community. And to this administration, fear is the point. Alienation is the point. Isolation is the point. The ICE Out package says to me, an immigrant, that we may be afraid, but we can show solidarity and resolve anyway. And as an American, I'm scared. I fear for our country, our democracy. ICE is yet another expression of the unaccountable abuse of power from this administration. And there is no shade of white that will save you. There is no kind of privilege that will keep you safe. There is no hole deep enough for you to bury your head to escape what is coming. At some level, when you hurt, I hurt. And when my kids hurt, you hurt. We are bound together at the mercy of strangers. And the ICE Out bills say to me, an American citizen, that our democracy is only as good as our will to fight for it. And I'm asking you, City Council, to show us that we are going to fight for it. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Peter An, a resident of Germantown, and I speak in support of ICE Out legislation being introduced today by Councilmember Brooks and Councilmember Landau. I speak today as a part of APIPA Korea Peace Committee, also as a part of President's House Slavery Memorial Alliance, but also as a Presbyterian clergy. First, can we stop the microaggressive term illegal? Being undocumented is not criminal. Refugees and asylum seekers and those who are seeking safety from real physical and economic violence and white-collar crime and the carceral industries, not criminal. And we just came out of Christmastide in Christian calendar. No nativity of Jesus without fugitivity of Jesus. If you're not Christian, keep us accountable on that Jesus himself was a fugitive in need of a sanctuary city. This is not the time to say, this is not my fight. It's time for a solidarity resilience. We don't agree on everything, and that's okay. We need the city governance, both the city council and the mayor's office, to be in lockstep, in visible solidarity with the vulnerable and the oppressed. By solidarity, I recall the German theologian Martin Niemöller during Nazi Germany, who might have said something like this today. First, they came for the socialists, and I didn't speak out because I was not a socialist. Then came for the DEI, and I did not speak out because it wasn't my fight. Then came for the SNAP benefits, they came for the healthcare subsidies, they came for the public schools and libraries, and I did not speak out because I had all these resources. They came for my LGBTQ plus communities, and I didn't speak out because I was a straight male. Then they came for our libraries. They came for the Jewish neighbors and Palestinian neighbors, and I did not speak out because I've long been disengaged. Then came for the President's House and Slavery Memorial, and I did not speak out because of my white fragility and white Christian nationalism. And I'd rather eulogize our ugly history. Lastly, please, release the September letter.
We have Orena Rogers, Stephanie Dorenbosch, Whitney Roosh. May Reverend Greg Holston, Ashanti Martin, Reverend Tharkis Hermawan, and Obona Higgins please make their way to the podium. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, City Council President Kenyatta and Council at Large. I appreciate that you've given us this opportunity to speak. I, an immigrant, that changed my dialect and I speak clear, and no one knows who I am unless they see my documents. And when I tell them, they can't believe it. But my family exiled here because of civil war, as other individuals that come to this country. We don't come here for food stamps. We don't come here for benefits. We come here to live at peace, unity, love, respect. That's all we come here for. We don't come here to commit crimes. We come here so that our bloodline, our DNA can live for generations to come. We come so that our children can have an education, that they're not walking down the side of a road trying to get to the next compound as a 9 or 10-year-old, and see dead bodies along the road. For my father to say, look ahead, don't look back, and you smell it. We come here for peace. We come here as all of the families that's here that no longer say they're immigrants, but claim to be true Americans. If they look inside of themselves and they look back, they'll see too that they are immigrants. As our president, who also is married to an immigrant, whose children are immigrants, we all need to look. If he wants to send ICE need to go to the White House first. I said what I said, and I stand on what I said. Start with his wife, his children, his family, then Elon Musk. They need to go inside the White House before they come out into our streets. I thank you, Brooks and Landau. Thank you. I, too, was a child. I need to say this, that they sent my father back while I was in school in 1963. And I just want to let this be known. Coming home from school and my father was nowhere to be found, to be taken in by the neighbors for months. Then they finally said, we need to help you. It took 5 years for the government to locate my family, for them to exile here. Thank God for Colin Powell. The late Colin Powell. My father went to every government, King Haile Selassie himself, to get me back. And nobody should have to endure that as a child. I was separated from my family for 5 years because they had the police then targeting immigrants. Now they have ICE. They need to stop it. What happens to the children if ICE takes the parents? Now the government is going to pay because they're going to be paying for them to feed them, house them, clothe them, and provide medical care. Think about it.
Could you state your name? State your name for the record, please.
Yes.
Just state your name for the record, please. Say your name for the record, please.
Orena, O-R-E-N-A, Rogers, R-O-G-E-R-S, the name the government gave me.
Thank you, Ms. Rogers.
I have 2 birth certificates.
State your name for the record. You have 2 minutes. Come on up. Okay, you can begin.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Stephanie Dorenbush, and I'm speaking today in support of Council Members Landau's and Brooks's package, ICE Out package. I'm also the granddaughter of 3 immigrants, the great-granddaughter of 2 more, the friend of immigrants and neighbor of immigrants, and I am not safe unless everyone is safe. I am a lawyer, so the rest of this is going to be less exciting than a lot of the previous speakers. But I wanted to emphasize that it's not just the ICE part of this. That is so important. And also, we need protections for immigrants in all parts of the legal system. I spent 6 years representing immigrant workers in cases against bad employers, another 4 years helping tenants deal with bad landlords. And I want to stress that discrimination does not just mean refusing to hire or refusing to rent to. It means different treatment or poor treatment of different groups. And without robust anti-discrimination laws and enforcement, the worst employers and landlords are emboldened to target immigrant employees and renters for exploitation. I've seen many cases of employers outright stating that they purposely hire immigrants because they think they're afraid to complain about stolen wages and dangerous conditions. And I've also seen landlords whose business model seems to be to target renters who they perceive to be vulnerable so they can take advantage of the reluctance to file complaints about refusing to make repairs and illegal self-help evictions. So we need to pass these laws to protect our immigrant neighbors, but also because they actually help protect everyone. If you have laws that require everyone to be treated fairly, it means everyone gets treated fairly. They help stop the race to the bottom, and they lift us all up. When business owners get away with underpaying a class of people, they can undercut their competition on prices and depress wages across the board. When landlords get away with treating a class of people poorly, the crumbling buildings they're renting out instead of fixing affect everyone on the block. I want my immigrant and US-born neighbors to be safe and healthy because their safety and health is also my safety and health. Council members, the rest of Philadelphia, hope you agree, support these bills. Thank you.
Good morning, council members. My name is Whitney Roach. I am a certified school nurse for the Philadelphia School District. Yes, woo, public school. And also a mother to a freshman at a high school in South Philly. Parents of all backgrounds should support the ICE Out legislation, and here's why. The past few weeks have necessitated conversations that were unimaginable to me merely a month ago. Conversations with my colleagues on how to respond if ICE shows up at school and attempts to enter the building by force. Conversations with students asking me how to act if ICE shows up during school dismissal. And one of them even asked me, Nurse Whitney, what does tear gas feel like? And conversations with my son on what to do if he and his friends are stopped by ICE. I know what I'm supposed to say. Don't run, stay calm, take video if you can. But I also really wanted to tell him to run like hell and scream for help, blow a whistle. Because these ICE agents aren't guided by any code of ethics. They don't care about constitutional rights. They are untrained and undisciplined men with guns, inconsistent and unpredictable as they terrorize neighborhoods with no accountability. We can't prepare our children enough. We can't prepare them enough for safe encounters with ICE because safe encounters with ICE don't exist. No, they don't exist, even for my white US-born son. We must reduce the potential for encounters by restricting ICE access to our communities in every way we can. This is the way we protect the children of Philadelphia. Council members, please pass this legislation to keep our children safe and keep ICE out of Philly. Thank you.
My name is Reverend Gregory Holston. I'm Executive Director of Just Nation, and for 25 years I've been a United Methodist pastor here in the city of Philadelphia. The scripture reminds us to welcome the stranger. That scripture does not say welcome only the documented strangers. It says welcome the strangers. The scripture says love your neighbor. It doesn't say love only your documented neighbors. The reason this is important because so many of my clergy friends right now went to Minneapolis. Some are down in D.C. right now knocking on doors to do something against ICE. It is because we have practiced for, in my sense, 25 years of practicing that scripture to welcome all people into our churches. I have ministered to people from Jamaica, from Bahamas, from Barbados, from Haiti, from Eritrea, from Kenya, from Liberia, from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Ecuador, all over the world, from Philippines, where not just my parishioners, they were my church family. This is about family. This is about family. This is about family. This is about family. The law is clear, but it's also about a legacy of the civil rights movement because the immigration nationality law comes right out of the civil rights movement. It was to eliminate racism in immigration, just like the Voting Rights Act was to eliminate racism in voting, just like the Civil Rights Act was to eliminate racism in housing and accommodations. It is part of the structure of building a multicultural, multiracial democracy that we've been fighting for with everything we have over these last 60 years. And we're not turning around now. We're not going back now. We're not going to let ICE be able to stop us from being what we are declared to be, a nation for all people. We stand up against white racism. We stand up against white nationalism. We stand up against white supremacy. We stand up for each other.
Thank you. Hello. So we're here on a bit of a different topic, but I just want to thank everyone for being here today. It's important. So my name is Ashanti Martin. I'm General Manager of WURD Radio. Thank you. Our podcast exonerated the cost of wrongful conviction tells the stories of people who have had decades of their lives stolen from them by a justice system that we know does not work for everyone. Our team derived a great deal of meaning in producing this podcast, and this recognition from the National NAACP and City Council makes it even more meaningful. Thank you, Councilmember O'Rourke, for this incredible honor. When we entered the NAACP Image Awards, we did it as an independent, Black-owned radio station, very humbly. I could not have foreseen that we would be nominated for a prestigious national award in a category alongside Kerry Washington, Kevin Hart, and Charlemagne, and alongside other podcasters like Don Lemon, Joy Reid, and even Michelle Obama. We are proud of our partnership with the Pennsylvania Innocence Project and grateful to Marone Law for their support and sponsorship of Exonerated. I'm also grateful for our team, Word Radio and President CEO Sarah Lomax, who could not be here but wants to share her thanks, producer Terry Tillman, editor and narrator Tiffany Bacon, other team members including Kawesa Mathis and Spencer Morris, and of course our host James Peterson, who's here to say a few words.
Good morning, everybody. I'm James Peterson. I host Evening Words on WURD. I want to thank Councilman O'Rourke for this acknowledgement and this entire body for acknowledging our work. And I want to say this. It is not a coincidence that Exonerated is being acknowledged on a day when ICE out legislation is being brought before this body. It is not. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. Exonerated examines the misconduct of law enforcement. Exonerated holds accountable law enforcement that is unchecked, that goes rogue. And I promise you, the ICE out legislation is civil rights legislation. It is important. It is important. So thank you all. Thank you for the acknowledgement. If you guys want to hear any of these council people on the radio show, please just tune in to Evening Words from 4 to 7 p.m., Monday through Thursday. Every single day we're on here talking with the people in this room about the issues that matter to the people in this room. Abolish ICE.
Also, go vote for us. The Image Award is a People's Choice Award, so you can go to Word Radio, WURD, You can vote there, and you can also listen to the podcast. It's 5 parts on Spotify and Apple. Please do so. Thank you so much. I just want our producer, Terry Tillman.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Councilman O'Rourke. Thank you very much for this recognition. When we were doing the work and meeting internally as a Word staff and with our partner, the Pennsylvania Innocence Project, I don't think any of us thought that we would be getting the recognition both locally and nationally. We just put our head down and did the work. I just want to let everybody know that we will not be comfortable with this nomination. We will continue to do the work. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Father Marcus Hermawan CM. I'm working for the Archdiocese of Philadelphia as chaplain of the Indonesian Catholic community in South Philly. I'm from Indonesia. As a chaplain and priest, I see fear and hopelessness in the faces of our community. They are constantly anxious and fearful whenever they leave their homes. At work, they live in fear that ICE will raid their workplace. Whenever they see people dressed like police officers, they immediately avoid them and run away. You know a lot of stories about us. The point is there is no sense of security. After seeing in the mass media how ICE treats the people they arrest in other states, even shooting their own citizens, their hopes are dashed. They often ask if this is the America that is supposed to be democratic and uphold human rights. But can you imagine what kind of life they are now living because of all this? As city council members, aren't the immigrants in this city your people? So please, I beg you, I implore you, defend your people, protect your people in this city. Please support ICE out bill package. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Obona Hagins, 4th generation chattel slavery survivor. I come to the chamber every week to speak out about the enforcement of the rights of the American freedmen and the enforcement of the law. Yet, in this very same body, I hear lawmakers telling citizens that it is acceptable to break the law if you don't agree with it. You tell our youth every day, follow the law, be good, follow directions. But this body itself is not following the rule of law that already exists on the books. You lose your mind if a rule is broken in a basketball game or a football game. You'll call the referee to be fired. For years, especially under the Obama administration, federal statutes and so-called Blue Lives Matter protections have protected the authority and legal difference given to all law enforcement officers, including ICE agents. Those laws and policies are the real reason ICE has the authority it does, not because the city condones it. The answer is not to tell citizens to circumvent or ignore the law. That is not leadership. That is not justice. Let me be very clear. This body is not repealing federal law. It is not changing federal law. It is attempting to work around it. And here's the contradiction I want to be on the record. If this council can be as ambitious about getting rid of ICE in Philadelphia, it should be just as ambitious of eradicating the badges, vestiges, and incidents of slavery. The badges, vestiges, and incidents of slavery that have the American freedmen going to the worst schools. You should want to abolish that too. Gentrification, a badge of slavery. You should want to abolish that just like you want to abolish ICE. Obona Hagins, over and out.
The chair recognizes Councilman Curtis Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Obana, would you stick around to the speech of the majority? Because I have some comments on that. And I want you to stick around, please. Thank you.
Council President, there are no further names for public comment.
That concludes today's public comment period. We will now consider the bills and resolutions on the second reading and final passage calendars. Will the clerk please read the title of resolution number 260033?
A resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority deeds conveying fee simple title to 2045 South 56th Street, 5123, 5125, 5127, 5129, Baltimore Avenue in the 3rd Councilmatic District of the City of Philadelphia, and further authorizing the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority to transfer to the Philadelphia Land Bank fee simple title to such properties pursuant to Section 16-405 of the Philadelphia Code.
The chair recognizes Councilman Jamie Gaultier for a motion regarding resolution number 260033.
Thank you, Council President. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that resolution number 260033 be adopted. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries. The resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of resolution number 260034?
A resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of 134, 138, and 140 North 58th Street, located in the 4th Councilmatic District in accordance with the terms of Chapter 16-700 of the Philadelphia Code.
Chair recognizes Councilman Curtis Jones for a motion regarding resolution number 260034.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for its adoption.
It has been moved and properly seconded that resolution number 260034 be adopted. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries. The resolution is adopted. If you're leaving the chambers, I just want to ask if you can keep it down. It's kind of hard to hear up here. Everybody's talking. Will the clerk please read the title of resolution number 260036?
A resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of 2039 East Fletcher Street, located in the 7th Councilmatic District, in accordance with the terms of Chapter 16-700 of the Philadelphia Code.
Chair recognizes Councilman Ketty Lozado for a motion regarding resolution number 260036. Oh, she ain't there. The chair recognizes Councilman Jim Hardy to make a motion on behalf of Councilman Ketty Lozado.
I move for the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that resolution number 260036 be adopted. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries. The resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of resolution number 260037?
A resolution approving the Third Amendment to the redevelopment agreement of the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority for the redevelopment and urban renewal of a portion of the American Street Industrial Corridor urban renewal area designated as parcel number 8, revised parcel number 9, and parcel number 10A, also sometimes identified by house numbers and street addresses, for revised parcel number 8 as 1700 through 34 North American Street, for revised parcel 9 as 1703 through 69 North Bodine Street, including 229 through 33 Cecil B. Moore Avenue, and for parcel 10A as 1736 through 54 North American Street, and authorizing the redevelopment authority to execute the Third Amendment to the redevelopment agreement with 1700 North American Street LLC, and to take such action as may be necessary to effectuate the Third Amendment to the redevelopment agreement.
Thank you very much. The chair recognizes Councilman Jim Hardy to make a motion on behalf of Councilman Ketty Lozado regarding resolution number 260037. Can y'all keep it down while y'all leaving, please? Member Hardy?
I move for the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that resolution number 260037 be adopted. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries. The resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of resolution number 260039?
A resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of 1909 North Van Pelt Street, located in the 5th Councilmatic District, in accordance with the terms of Chapter 16-700 of the Philadelphia Code.
Chair recognizes Councilman Jeffrey Young for a motion regarding resolution number 260039.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for its adoption.
It has been moved and properly seconded that resolution number 260039 be adopted. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries. The resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of resolution number 260040?
A resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of 1437, 1438, 1539, 1544, 1546, and 1610 Ogden Street, 863 North 15th Street, 841, 845, and 851 North 16th Street, located in the 5th Councilmatic District, in accordance with the terms of Chapter 16-700 of the Philadelphia Code.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Jeffrey Young for
Thank
a
you.
motion regarding resolution number 260040.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that resolution number 260040 be adopted. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries. The resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of resolution number 260041?
A resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of 1802 through 1804 North Franklin Street, 1803, 1807 through 25 North 8th Street, located in the 5th Councilmatic District, in accordance with the terms of Chapter 16-700 of the Philadelphia Code.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Young for a motion regarding resolution number 260041.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that resolution number 260041 be adopted. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries, and the resolution is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title of resolution number 260042?
A resolution authorizing the Philadelphia Land Bank to dispose of 1403, 1409, 1415, 1428, 1436, and 1441 North 17th Street, 1624 and 1626 Jefferson Street, located in the 5th Councilmatic District in accordance with the terms of Chapter 16-700 of the Philadelphia Code.
The chair recognizes Councilman Young for a motion on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption.
It has been moved and properly seconded that resolution number 260042 be adopted. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries. The resolution is adopted. The chair recognizes Councilman Ketsi Lozada.
Mr. President, I'd like to be voted aye on bills and resolutions while I was out.
Thank you. Shall be duly noted. The clerk please read the title of resolution number 260045.
A resolution honoring Father Joseph J. Kelly by renaming the 2400 block of South 17th Street as Father Joseph Kelly Way in recognition of his dedicated pastoral leadership at St. Monica Parish and his longstanding service to the South Philadelphia community.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Cindy Bass for a motion regarding resolution number 260045.
Thank you, Mr. President. On your behalf, I move for the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that resolution number 260045 be adopted. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries. The resolution is adopted. Would the clerk please read the title of resolution number 260046?
A resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Public Property to execute and deliver to the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority deeds conveying fee simple title to 2726 North 15th Street in the 8th Councilmatic District of the City of Philadelphia, and further authorizing the Philadelphia Redevelopment Authority to transfer to the Philadelphia Land Bank fee simple title to such properties pursuant to Section 16-405 of the Philadelphia Code.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Cindy Bass for a motion regarding resolution number 260046.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that resolution number 260046 be adopted. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries. The resolution is adopted. Would the clerk please read any additional resolution on today's calendar?
A privileged resolution authorizing the Committee on Education to hold hearings on the decrease in black student enrollment at School District of Philadelphia special admission schools, introduced by Councilmember Thomas on behalf of Councilmember Gilmore Richardson.
The chair recognizes the Chair of Education, Councilmember Isaiah Thomas.
Thank you, Council President. On behalf of our Majority Leader, who's a little under the weather today, I move for the adoption of the resolution, but also, Council President, I would like to be recorded as aye on all votes that I missed prior to this moment.
Shall be duly It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Thought it was just me in here. Anybody opposed? The ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Councilmember Thomas, you shall be duly noted on voting aye on all bills and resolutions while you are out of the chambers. Would the clerk please read the title of the next resolution, please?
A privileged resolution recognizing the life and legacy of Joseph R. Cernick for his distinguished career of public service to the City of Philadelphia and his visionary leadership in transforming the Schuylkill River Corridor, Trail, and Waterfront, introduced by Councilmember Jones on behalf of Council President Johnson.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Curtis Jones for a motion on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for its adoption.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution is adopted. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Would the chief clerk please read the title of the next resolution?
A privileged resolution recognizing January 20th through 23rd, 2026 as Social Justice Week in the City of Philadelphia, and further honoring Friends Select School for its contributions and dedication to being an anti-racist school with a culture and curriculum that encourage and empower awareness of and response to issues and events in the City of Philadelphia, introduced by Councilmember Young.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Jeffrey Young for a motion on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Will the chief clerk please read the title of the next resolution?
A privileged resolution recognizing the lives and legacies and expressing condolences for the deaths of Keith Porter Jr., Renee Nicole Good, Alex Preddy, Chaifeng Gee, Fawad Saeed Abdul Qadir, Parity La, and the countless individuals who have been killed, disappeared, or tortured in the past year, introduced by Councilmember Brooks.
The chair recognizes Councilman Brooks for a motion on the resolution.
I move for the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Will the chief clerk please read the title of the next resolution?
A privileged resolution recognizing January as National Substance Abuse Disorder Month and honoring the resilience of individuals, families, and communities impacted by substance abuse disorder in Philadelphia and nationwide, introduced by Councilmember Harity.
Chair recognizes Councilmember Jim Harity for a motion on the resolution.
Good afternoon. I move for the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Will the chief clerk please read the title of the next resolution?
A privileged resolution honoring Word Radio for being nationally recognized as a nominee for an NAACP Image Award for its limited podcast series, Exonerated, The Cost of Wrongful Conviction, which explores life after wrongful conviction in Philadelphia, exemplifying local journalism's mission to explain, clarify, and nuance the diverse experiences of Philadelphians, introduced by Councilmember O'Rourke.
Chair recognizes Councilman Nicholas O'Rourke for a motion on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the resolution as well as a request to be voted, recounted as aye on all bills and resolutions that I may have missed when I stepped out of the chamber.
Will be duly noted. It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Will the chief clerk please read the title of the next resolution?
A non-privileged resolution with suspension of the rules to adopt today, authorizing Councilmember Brian O'Neill's appeal on behalf of and as a representative of City Council of the decision of the Department of Licenses and Inspections with respect to 451 Ron Street, introduced by Councilmember O'Neill.
The chair recognizes Councilman O'Neill for a motion on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the adoption of the resolution.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the resolution be adopted. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. The chief clerk please read the title of the next resolution.
Council President, there are no further resolutions in my possession.
That completes our calendar for today. Are there any speeches on behalf of the minority? The chair recognizes Councilmember Kendra Brooks.
Thank you, Council President. What we are seeing today in our city is that the people of Philadelphia are ready. We are ready to stand up to Trump, to stand up for our neighbors, and to protect our city from ICE. Thank you to Councilmember Landau for partnering with me on the ICE out legislation that we introduced today. Thank you to Councilmember Lozada, who was an early supporter of this legislation, and thank you to all my colleagues who co-sponsored this legislation today. This is the type of action I talk about in my speech last week, and I'm grateful to have your support this morning. I intend to work with all of you over the coming weeks to get this across the finish line. Over 50 local organizations signed on to endorse this ICE out package. The list includes groups who worked with us to craft the legislation, including Pennsylvania Immigrant Coalition, Make the Road PA, New Sanctuary Movement, and the National Domestic Workers Alliance. It also includes labor unions, Unite Here, SEIU, and PFT. Thank you all for your commitment to our immigrant neighbors and the safety of our entire city. This issue is too important for us to back down on. With this iced out legislation, we're doing everything within the city's power to limit ICE activity in Philadelphia. We want ICE out of all American cities. These bills are in line with successful legislation that has passed in Allentown and Reading, modeled after legislation in Harrisburg, and now being proposed by Democrats at this federal level. It takes the best practices we learned from ICE raids in Chicago and California and puts them into law. It has support from ACLU-PA, our district attorney, Larry Krasner, and Sheriff Bilal. This bill puts Philadelphia as a leader in the nation in restricting ICE activity in our city. With this legislation, we are saying ICE out of the shadows, because we don't want mass unidentified agents terrorizing our communities. ICE out of city data, because we don't want ICE collaborating with our local law enforcement or using our personal information for their raids. ICE out of city spaces, because we don't want ICE using our parks and other city-owned spaces for their operations. Over the past 10 years, every time Trump has tried to trample on our rights, the people of Philadelphia have come together to stand up and fight back. Staying silent is not an option when people are being publicly executed in streets and the federal government is covering up their murders. I want to be clear, ICE is already here. We don't want a Minneapolis situation, but I reject the claim of those who are pretending that we don't already have a problem. So today, this body is taking action. Over 50 endorsing organizations are taking action, and together we're going to get this done to protect all of us here in Philadelphia. Thank you so much, colleagues, for all of your support.
Chair recognizes Councilman Nicholas O'Rourke.
Thank you, Mr. President. As we've already heard today, Word was nominated for an NAACP Image Award in the Limited Podcast Series category, making it the only local outlet nominated for an award in 2026. I think that's worth clapping for and celebrating. The nominated podcast, Exonerated, The Cost of Wrongful Conviction, is about 4 men wrongfully sentenced to decades in prison for crimes they didn't commit, and what their life has become after the harrowing experience of having to serve time unjustly. The program was made in partnership with the Pennsylvania Innocence Project and with the support of the Maroney Law Firm. So, while I know this is a credit to the whole Word family, I want to especially congratulate Ashanti Martin, Dr. James Peterson, Terry Tillman, and Tiffany Bacon, the executive producer, host, producer, and editor of Exonerated. And we certainly thank William Bailey, Lance Felder, William Johnson, and John Miller. These are men who spent decades of their lives trapped in a system operating at the peak and apex of injustice. Their voices ring out, and this nomination is just a small example of their importance. I do feel safe saying and speaking for my colleagues when I say that we deeply appreciate the service that WURD Word Radio provides to our city, and that we are immensely happy for the recognition that the station received through this nomination. But this award is special, as Ashanti Martin pointed out in her public comments, because it's decided by the people. The nominee with the most online votes actually receives the award, which means we got to vote, Philly. So please, from now to February the 13th, that is as of today through February the 13th, go to WURDradio.com, that's WURDradio.com/exonerated. You spell that EXONERATED to vote for the program. That's WURDradio.com/exonerated. And better yet, listen to the podcast wherever you get them online. Listen to all 5 episodes. It's really, really good reporting. It's really, really good work. And as Philadelphians, we should be proud of Word Radio. We appreciate the storytellers at Word who chronicle the local stories that help to shape local governance, who connect the dots at the ground level about all things that are happening across our country. As Dr. Peterson connected the dots when he made his comment, immediately reminded me of that particular passage of scripture. Luke 4:18, Jesus begins his ministry opening the scroll to the book of the prophet Isaiah, where it's recorded saying that the Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he's anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim release to the captives. He has sent me to proclaim release to the captives, recovery of sight to the blind, and to set free those who are oppressed. Release to the captives, set free those who are oppressed. He made those connections immediately in his comments about how we're focused on exonerated, as well as this larger issue that we have lifted up today as well. All the change I want to see starts locally, which brings me to the question of local power in a time when there are no rules. Clearly, the ICE out package that we have seen raised today, I don't want to sugarcoat it. These people really have goons running around without any concern for the notion of rights in this country, for the notion of law in a country that claims itself to be a republic. In Minneapolis, in these deaths, we've seen the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment just vanish. They killed a disarmed man licensed to carry, blamed it on the fact that he owned a weapon, and those who worship the Second Amendment can't seem to agree on whether it was a problem or not. Now, I don't know how many other folks have been around paying attention to politics, more than since yesterday. But last time I checked, two-way and Second Amendment rights was bedrock belief for most conservatives in this country. And the idea now that somehow that means nothing and you can't bring a firearm to a protest coming out the mouth of a Republican president is the face of ridiculousness, absurdity, and non-seriousness. And we remember Philando Castile, killed in the same Twin Cities region as well. These are not people clearly with ironclad principles, but there was less bloodless, less magical thinking before. Not anymore. Apparently nothing matters. Whatever this fascist regime says is what goes, and it's got to stop here. I think every legislator who represents Philadelphia, here, Harrisburg, D.C., I think our mayor and our governor, our local law enforcement, district attorney, our court system, I think we all have to acknowledge a basic fact. That fact is this, and I'll shut up. The people of Philadelphia are not waiting for us to defend their neighbors. They're not waiting. They'd like our help. If they can get it, they'd be grateful for it, but they won't wait for it. In the same way that when danger came to the Twin Cities, people did not wait. We know enough about the people we represent to know that many, many, many Philadelphians will make it their business to resist. Somehow, some way. People of all stripes, people of most political persuasions, people we would never expect to be brave will be if the moment calls for it. So we need to be brave with the power that we do have. That has been given to us by the people, so the Constitution says. Utterly realistic? Yes. But very, very brave? Yes. Very strategic? Yes. But very, very brave. We know cowering is a losing strategy with the man in the White House. And we know it ain't just our duty to struggle, but it's also our duty to win. So we're going to have to be brave. We're going to have to be courageous. Courage, my friend, you do not walk alone, as the song says, and as the scripture reminds us. Leviticus 19:33, when a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, for you were foreigners in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. That is what the text says. The moral law, the ancient law, the gospel, and the good news, all of it, as well as these people are saying today what we ought to do. Let our leadership show up in our voting. Thank you, Mr. President.
That didn't sound like Christian nationalism to me. Thank you, Member O'Rourke. They got a different playbook. The chair recognizes Councilmember Jones for speeches on behalf of the majority, starting with Councilmember Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President, colleagues, listening audience. I'm proud of the members in this body. Y'all are fired up and ready to go. From everything, seeing you on national TV, speaking to the fact that they removed the Exhibit down at 6th Street for the slaves that the founder of this nation owned. You standing up for this body locally deserves a round of applause. From the voices that I've heard, from the speeches of the majority that we give, to the legislation that we pass, to the ICE out legislation, all of these are brave voices from my colleagues. I'm proud to hear those voices. I rise today on a slightly different matter. I start with the fact that this is ironic that it's the 250th birthday of our nation, and that we're going through all of these things, and that I understand when you tell a person or a country's history that some of those chapters you really don't want read out loud. Dang, we made a mistake. Maybe if I just erase it, it stops being a part of our history. No, it becomes fantasy, it becomes fake, it becomes not true. Some of the good, the bad, and the ugly give us our template for what we're going to do in the future, what we can do better. And so as we look at what's going on, I bring us to the fact that we were to have a hearing on Resolution 250-781 in reference to the Freedmen's Bureau. And the timing of this could not be better. For 3 years, I've listened to the 18th member of City Council come in here, and sometimes I listen a little closer than others. Sometimes I said, oh boy, here he goes, right? But after a while, I start hearing the truth. After a while, I start hearing how it's timely that you got number 47 trying to erase everything. You got number 47 trying to get rid of DEI. You got number 47 saying that immigration is wrong. What I see is that in Philadelphia, if you want to clean up the world, start sweeping under your own feet. Start sweeping under our feet. And that we have a constitutional angle, fact, that we can stand on in the sense that if you are trying to narrow President Trump to who gets what benefit, then we should start with the freedmen. That when you think about all of the other groups that I support, totally, right? But when I think about our struggle, South Philly's struggle, what happened to us, a longer period of time, and I can't think of more intense impact that has impacts today. Every one of you raised an issue, whether it was re-entry and incarceration. Those are the baggages of slavery. Fact. When you start talking about education and the lack of fairness in education opportunities to black and brown babies, and particularly freedmen, slavery. The fact that there is today a school-to-prison pipeline, slavery, housing, segregation, to the degree that we migrated up north, yet were cut off by the government's imposition of highways, your neighborhoods, my neighborhoods, our districts. Slavery. You can't find a subject that we're talking about today that can't be traced back to the pebble in the pond back then. Not a one. Even if we tried. You can't erase it. You can't act like it didn't happen. It doesn't become history, it becomes fake fantasy. So now, I say all of that to say that on February 18th, we're going to hear resolution number 250-781. I encourage my colleagues to come in with their opinions. And what are we trying to get out of that? We're not trying to create fantasy, we want to document constitutional record and how Philadelphia can impact that. We don't want to create unrealistic expectations. I'm not saying you can't do 40 acres and a mule, but you can damn sure do scholarships. tax breaks, housing breaks, things that are real, that people should be held responsible for. I know for a fact that there are bodies still under the White House of slaves that built that have no names on their graves. If you build a White House on the backs of slavery, do you have some responsibility? Whether you are an education institution that built your dorms, shouldn't our children get scholarships to go to your institutions? So all of these remedies, we will evaluate at that hearing. We will talk about at that hearing. I do not expect unfiltered, no opposition opinion. I want to hear it all. I want to evaluate it all to see what is realistic, Mr. President. And then once we get done, we're going to do like Philadelphia always has done. Be the first at things. Be the first at things. And when I say to you that in the 80s in Congress, they introduced a Freedmen's Bill, it's still getting kicked, the can's still getting kicked down the road about it. It lapses, they reintroduce it. Buck stops right here. In Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, we can be first at good things. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Member Jones. Very well said. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Dr. Nina Ahmad.
Thank you, Council President. Philadelphia is a city I love deeply, the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection, a city that stands without hesitation for justice, dignity, and respect for all who call it home. As the only first-generation immigrant serving on Philadelphia City Council, this issue regarding ICE is not abstract to me. It impacts me and my family every single day. The testimony you heard today is testimony we live every single day. Just because I'm sitting in this seat doesn't make me immune from that. But I know firsthand the promise of the city. The same things that I just spoke about also is the same place that gave me this opportunity to serve on this body. Almost unimaginable, looking at the arc of my life. So I know firsthand the promise of the city and the challenges of building a life here. The Philadelphia I know is gritty, resilient, and always willing to extend a helping hand when someone is in need. That is my experience of Philadelphia. Let me be clear again that this city stands without hesitation for justice, dignity, and respect for all who call it home. And let me be clear too, those values are not conditional. We do not pick and choose whose rights matter. That is why ICE must be held accountable. Philadelphia cannot and will not tolerate unlawful practices that terrorize our residents, separate families, and sow fear in our neighborhoods. I thank my colleagues, Councilmember Kendra Brooks and Ru Landau, and all who are supporting this bill, and saying that in addition to this legislation being introduced today, I am working to really look at the most vulnerable immigrant residents, people facing real, credible threats to their lives from human trafficking and sexual violence. This work is about more than just policy. It is human rights. I'm going to be working on that with all my colleagues to give new legislation that will, in addition to what was introduced today, look at the most vulnerable amongst our immigrant communities. And it will reflect our obligation to protect people when systems fail them. But our responsibility does not stop at the city line. I'm calling on Congress to finally deliver meaningful immigration reform. Reform that includes smart border security, employment verification, and a fair asylum process. Reform that protects dreamers, and reform that creates a real, lawful path for undocumented immigrants who meet the requirements to stay and contribute to this country. And let me be equally clear, without major reforms in the DHS funding bill, the Department of Homeland Security funding bill, I strongly urge our representatives and senators to oppose that spending package. Philadelphia is stronger because of its people, all of us. And together, we will ensure this remains a welcoming city where no one has to live in fear because of where they were born, what they look like, who they love, or how they worship. That is who we are. In solidarity and service, I yield back, Council President.
Very well said, Dr. Ahmed. Chair recognizes Councilman Jeffrey J. Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank the students at Friends Select for testifying today on the resolution I introduced honoring their Social Justice Week, where a part of their curriculum, which is designed by the students, is anti-racism. At Friends Select, Quaker influence manifests in the education with the practice of peaceful resolution of conflict, service toward others, respect, and inclusion, things that we need in this country. And anti-racism is important in a time where our Supreme Court has legalized these Kavanaugh stops. I know you may have heard that term before. It was coined by a Philadelphia-based law professor at Drexel University. For those who need a reminder, these stops are stops by which federal agents can stop and detain someone based on their perceived ethnicity, right? So basically telling us that our 4th, 5th Amendments, all these things that we hold near in this country do not matter. In the 4 months since this decision, we've seen that our communities are not safer by allowing apparent ethnicity. These are the words in the court order, the apparent ethnicity to be a relevant factor in federal stops. As we heard today, Black immigrants come from all over the world. I literally look like I can come from any hemisphere in the world. I've been to different countries and they look at me like, oh, you're not from here? No, I'm not. So what is my apparent ethnicity to an ICE agent from Montana if I'm on Erie Avenue trying to get Dominican food, or if I'm at the Jamaican bar where I met my wife, right? What is my apparent ethnicity to them? Look at everything the federal government is doing, literally trying to whitewash America. They removed our exhibit at the president's house, which honors our history like it never existed. And sidebar, I want to give a special shout out again. The only 2 early presidents to not enslave Africans were Quakers. So shout out to the Quaker education again at Friends Select, right? So if the current federal government could remove me, I think it's safe to say they would. It is our duty as local elected officials to protect the public health, safety, and welfare of the residents of the city of Philadelphia. That is our charge as local officials. So I want to commend my colleagues for taking action with the ICE out legislation. I look forward to the conversations as we move these bills through the legislative process. I also want to thank you, the Council President. I also want to commend the Mayor for their leadership in fighting to keep our history as we celebrate America's 250th birthday. So thank you, Mr. President. I look forward to continuing this fight for our citizens, for our residents in the city.
Thank you very much, Member Young. Very well said. Councilmember Cindy Bass.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think a lot of what I wanted to comment on has been said, but I want to just make a couple of quick points. And the first is that I do want to take a moment and thank my colleagues for the ICE out package, Brooks and Landau, and also Councilmember Nina Ahmad, who is working on some additional legislation to complement what's already been introduced. So I did want to thank them for offering this legislation, and because, you know, we've all seen what's happening in our country. It's incredibly frightening. We're having conversations that we never thought we would have in this country. Do I need to carry my passport with me when I leave out the front door? Does my daughter need, do the both of us need to walk out of our door with our passport? Should I get a passbook card to carry in my wallet to prove my citizenship? You know, some of these things that are happening are incredibly frightening. And when I heard about the second shooting in Minneapolis, to hear about it is one thing. To actually see the video of someone being executed on the streets is horrific. And so, as it's been said, ICE is already here in the city of Philadelphia. It's not, are they coming, will they come? They're already here. And so this is important legislation that we need to move forward for a number of different reasons, but specifically because if you're any student of world history, and I know, Mr. President, you are, if you're a student of world history, you know that about 90 years ago, right, we go from 2026 to 1936. If we just look back at 1936 and some of the things that were happening at that time in this world, not necessarily all in this country, but if you look at what was happening then in Nazi Germany and here in this country, then you should be very afraid. You should be very, very afraid. And beyond being afraid, because we're not going to let that happen. You better get your fight on. You better be ready to get your fight on. And so we have to be ready to do what we have to do to keep each other safe and protect one another during this time of tyranny. And so, again, I just wanted to mention that. On a somewhat lighter note, well, actually much lighter, I want to thank the Allegheny West Foundation, which has been doing work in North Philadelphia for decades. Allegheny West, I love to say, hired me for my first job when I was 15 years old. So they've been around for a minute. But they, you know, we introduced a bill today to rename the Panatti Recreation Center the Allegheny West Recreation Center because of the work that they do and because they've been holding down that center for decades now, for at least the last 20 years. They've been there on the ground, running programs, running services, and so we want to just thank them for all that they've done. And it is appropriately named, once this bill passes, the Allegheny West Recreation Center. And last but not least, I want to just make mention that we're getting ready to have a briefing across the hall. Many of you know we introduced a bill some time ago, back in December, around ACCT, the Philadelphia's Animal Care and Control Team, to give you a conversation about what's happening with animal care and control here in the city. It is very much an issue. It is very much of great concern. We put down a lot of animals unnecessarily here in the city of Philadelphia, and that's why we did our backyard breeding moratorium. I'm certainly hoping that every member can at least stop by. We have lunch. It's going to be good. Get something to eat. But at least stop by. And if not, please send a staffer to attend the briefing and get the information. It's very, very valuable. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Member Bass. Very well said. You know, I lost my dog, so thank you for your work on this issue. I had to put my baby down, but Chair recognizes Councilman Dr. Anthony Phillips.
Thank you, Council President. Today, I just want to briefly thank you to Councilmember Rue Landau and the incredible Councilwoman Kendra Brooks for introducing these incredible pieces of legislation to really tell citizens in the city of Philadelphia that we are about the business of the people. What the ICE Out legislation ultimately says to Donald Trump is that no matter what you try to do to undermine the health and safety and well-being of Philadelphian citizens, we will stand up to you. And so I'm just so proud of this body for standing up to a bully in Donald Trump today. And we're looking forward to passing this legislation together. I also wanted to say really quickly, as someone who recently earned a PhD in Afro-American Studies with a focus on African-American life and culture in the church, I spent many years understanding the importance of Black history. And not only that, we have families that are visiting our city of Philadelphia, tourists, students, everyone's visiting. America's story is complex, but we cannot erase history. And so when Donald Trump makes decisions to try to erase history and also threaten the well-being of individuals in the city of Philadelphia, it is our responsibility as legislators and public servants to respond with a level of commitment to making sure that that doesn't happen. And so we're doing the best that we can do, but the reality is that we're gonna have to keep doing even more to fight the fascism, racism, sexism, and all that comes with that comes with the leadership of this federal government. And so with that being said, I look forward to not only supporting the legislation for ICE Out, but also doing more initiatives to make sure that the history of people of African descent, whether or not in other histories, Jews, religious, anything across the city of Philadelphia is not erased. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Dr. Phillips. We already well said. The chair recognizes Councilman Ketsi Lozada.
Thank you, Council President. Today we gather to affirm the power of a city that stands together. I support the ICE Out legislation because I stand in support of the immigrant communities, not just in my community, but across the city of Philadelphia. Not abstractly, not politically, but personally. In my district, more than 50% of the residents are Latino, but our immigrant community is far broader than that. We are home to a large Chinese, Vietnamese, Portuguese, Palestinian, and many other constituencies who are deeply impacted by these issues. Before I say anything else, I must say two things. First, thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone who showed up here this morning. Thank you for standing together and in a defining moment. I want to say a special thank you to Council Members Kendra Brooks and Rue Landau for their leadership in crafting this bill package. Their work reflects moral clarity, courage, and a real understanding of what our communities are facing. I'm proud to stand with them today. I'd also like to thank Juntos, New Sanctuary Movement, the Welcome Center, and countless others who have been consistent in their fearless advocacy and dedication to holding government accountable. My staff shared a quote from an advocate with me, and it says, "Cuando los políticos toman una posición de silencio, ese silencio se interpreta como aceptación. Ese sentimiento resuena profundamente conmigo en este momento. Silencio no es neutral. Silencio manda un mensaje. Y por demasiado familia, ese mensaje se siente como abandonamiento." I said, when politicians take a position of silence, that silence is translated as acceptance, and that is painful. That resonated deeply with me because right now, silence is not neutral. Silence sends a message, and for too many families, that message feels like an abandonment. These are our neighbors. These are parents picking up their kids from schools, elders going to church, families shopping at the market, all while living with the daily fear of detention, deportation, and separation. Fear of ICE showing up on their block. Fear of being taken from their loved ones. Fear that one ordinary day, everything could change. In the 7th District, we take these fears very seriously, even when it's not on the front page. I'd like to take a moment to thank my staff. Every single one of them has played a part in making sure that we support immigrant residents, connecting non-English families with housing and basic needs, distributing Know Your Rights materials, hosting community workshops, and advocating for real investment like the $1.5 million secured for an immigration defense unit. But services alone are not enough. Policies matter, public leadership matters, and being vocal matters. All people in Philadelphia deserve protection and security in their homes and in their neighborhoods. We cannot allow fear to define daily life for the people who contribute so much to our city. This is no longer about political affiliation. It is no longer about criminal records. It is no longer about perpetrators. This is about humanity. It is about an agency who is showing up, creating chaos, instilling fear, and breaking the very laws that were written to protect us. ICE needs to leave not just Philadelphia. They need to leave every city. They need to leave now. Funding needs to stop. Funding needs to stop until reforms are created. Until faith is restored, until fear is no longer. Until we can connect those that feel like they are alone with the services they deserve. Silence is no longer an acceptable option. That is why today I again thank the authors of both of the package, and we'll look forward to continuing the conversation and keeping immigrant families safe in the city of Philadelphia and beyond. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Member Lozada.
I apologize. I just want to also mention two more things. We can't ignore the fact that there are schools closing across the city. I have 4 schools closing in the 7th Council District. I'm getting a ton of calls, and I'd like those families to know that we hear them. We understand their fears as well. I encourage everyone to participate in their neighborhood community meetings, reach out to us and let us know their individual stories. And in the month of February, my office is working with different partners to set up 5 pantries, most of them in schools, connecting some of these very same families who are living in daily fear with something as simple as food. I ask each one of my colleagues to join my office in collecting some of those canned goods and getting them over to my office so that we can distribute them evenly. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Lozada. Chair recognizes Councilman Rulandow.
Thank you, Council President, and thank you, colleagues, for your amazing words of support that for both our package of bills, but also what's coming from your heart, because I know how much you are individually so invested in this work. Today is our moment where we show really that all politics are local. When we watch what our federal government is doing, dismantling the very safety nets that we have created in the law and in both legal and moral, we know that all we can do here in Philadelphia is take care of ourselves. So as I often say, Philly needs to take care of Philly, and that is what we are doing right now. You know, when we hear these stories about and watch as the federal government is doing everything from dismantling our history by taking down the slavery exhibit at the President's house to the Supreme Court saying that it is now legitimate or legal to stop and question Black and brown people as they're walking down the street, to watching the brutal behavior of ICE agents around this country, especially what we've seen most recently in Minneapolis. This is absolutely the time. If you haven't been in the fight before, now is the time to step in. Now is the time to join us, because as we've all been saying, there's more of us than there are of them. Over this past year, we've watched this largely unchecked federal administration move without restraint. They're trampling on our civil liberties, our civil rights, and ignoring the fundamental civil rights laws that we've put into place. They have exposed themselves that they are operating without oversight, and exactly as Donald Trump wants them to. And the federal government's actions have caused immense fear and pain for our immigrant neighbors right here in Philadelphia. That's why today, after months of working with brilliant, dedicated community members, Minority Leader Brooks and I have introduced our ICE Out package, bills that turn what we've heard from community members into action. This legislation is aimed at protecting our immigrant neighbors and truly showing up for Philadelphia's immigrant communities. Fear tactics like those used by Trump's DHS have never made us safer. They've only made our neighbors afraid to go to work, to go to school, to seek medical care, or even to call 911. Fear is not public safety, trust is. When immigrant communities are protected, our entire city is stronger. That's not radical, that's common sense. This legislation takes ICE out of the shadows, ICE out of the data, ICE out of our public spaces, and out of our city services, and it demands ICE out of our city. These are life and death principles that immigrant communities and allies across this country are demanding. We're fighting for a city where every neighbor feels the support and protection of their community and government, and that's why we're standing in solidarity with our immigrant neighbors, because that's the Philly thing to do. Again, I want to thank you all for your support. I have never felt on a subject as difficult as this, which, Councilmember O'Rourke said that we have the bravery and the courage to stand up for this. I have never felt so unified on council before on something that is of such extreme importance. And as we know in Philly, that we support our neighbors and we take our stories and lift them up, I want to remind all of you about the incredible Our Market Project briefing and screening info session that is happening today in Conversation Hall from 12 to 3. Our local neighbor, Michelle Angelina Ortiz, who has created this project lifting up the 9th Street Market. This is like one of the most diverse areas the city of Philadelphia, includes immigrant groups throughout the city. She has been lifting up and telling the stories of the market in such an incredible way. She is an internationally known muralist who lives right here in Philadelphia and has done some brilliant works here as well. And I just want to, these are the moments where we have to see that Philly knows the more we invest in our communities and tell our stories that we will not dismantle, that's what shows our strength, and that's what shows our grit, and that's what shows our Philadelphia. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Very well said. As there are no more speeches, the chair recognizes Councilmember Isaiah Thomas for a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Council President. Commend all of our colleagues for the great work that's being done, especially the ICE Out legislation. Thank you for your leadership there. It's much needed. With that being said, Council President, I move that council stands adjourned until Thursday, February 5th, 2026 at 10 a.m.
It has been moved and properly seconded that City Council stands adjourned until Thursday, February the 5th, 2026 at 10 a.m. All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Those opposed, the ayes have it. The motion carries. Thank you all very much.